Good evening. We're about 7:05 here, and we actually already opened the meeting a little while ago. And we adopted the agenda and we had public comment regarding the closed session. And let's see, we are then at item 5, and the city attorney will report out on the closed session.
Madam Mayor, nothing to report out.
Okay. Thank you. So we will open the regular meeting of the Duarte City Council, and we have all council members present right now. And if we could have one of our mayor's youth council members, Dia, we're going to have Dia come up and lead us in the pledge to the flag. So Dia, if you would come forward. All right. You can tell us what to do too, Dia.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Dia. Great job. Okay, so now we have special items tonight, and there are a few of those on here. And the first one is the Mayor's Youth Council update. So if we could have members of the Mayor's Youth Council, whoever would like to come up, and maybe you can go ahead and introduce the members that have come with you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Perez, and I am the president of this year's Student Mayor's Youth Council. Hi, I'm Hope, and I am in charge of the events. Hi, I'm Idali.
I'm Angela. Hi, I'm Brielle Finley.
I should say grandma.
Hi, I'm Ethan Finley.
Hi, I'm Dia Shapatel.
Okay, good evening. My name is Elizabeth Perez, and I'm here to give you guys an update on our last month's meeting. And something that we've been working on for quite some time now is a bowling alley petition. So on behalf of Duarte students, community, and residents of City of Duarte, our community wants to build and support a recreational bowling alley here in Duarte. This would bring additional revenue and recreation and new business to our community. For example, helping the community and keeping people out of trouble, bringing profit and money to the city, public and City of Duarte by bringing visitors from outside of the city. It's even good for the ecosystem by walking, biking, and having people use our local public transportation and bringing families and friends in general, people together. Event revenue by banquets, parties, meetings, and etc. Currently, our Duarte student Unified School District students and residents of Duarte have signed petitions for the bowling alley. We have about 168 signatures. We still have one petition still going out and around, and we'll hope to bring that to you for our next update for the next month. So that is all that I have to give today. Any questions or comments?
What's your average? I'm sorry, Nick.
No, go ahead.
What's your average? Do you
Right
bowl?
now, we have about 180.
No, I'm saying your bowling average.
Oh,
186 is actually very good.
I don't bowl, so
Oh.
I don't.
I'm actually 187. Just kidding.
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
How you doing, Ms. Perez?
Pretty good.
Are you aware that Duarte used to have a bowling alley?
Yes, I'm really aware of that.
And it didn't keep us kids out of trouble.
Well,
But it's a good idea, but I don't know what is your location that you guys have in mind?
We're hoping to get with basically some of your city staff, and we're hoping to like look around for a location, and we're hoping to actually work together as a team and to actually look around City of Duarte, see what's a good location to put the bowling alley. We have petitions here so for someone to come get. So yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
City-owned bowling alley.
And matter of fact, I'll ask Manuel. I know. He gets a little bit nervous about this, you guys. We're looking at trying to expand our teen center at some point, get some grant money to go ahead and do that, which is not out of the question. And I know particularly the boxing program, I think that's because that has just been so well attended. What are the chances of getting, like a couple of lanes, three lanes for bowling there? And I have no idea what the expenses are with that.
Wow.
Okay, now I know we also, when my kids always wanted to go bowling when they were growing up and we didn't have much money, I would say, okay, we're going to go ahead and get milk cartons. And they would take a basketball and roll it down the hallway. Yes, Brielle and Ethan, your parents, you know, we did live under a different time. So, but possibly something, you know, just to take a look at it, because I think these guys, they have a great idea. I can tell you right now, if we put 2 lanes in there, they'd be busy all the time.
Yes.
Mayor Finley, you
Yes, sir.
know, the bowling alley had 50-cent day. You could have set the kids on 50-cent day.
You know what? 50 cents was a lot of money back then. Come on, Tony. Okay, any other questions or comments or
You
I would
can-
say,
your
Yeah,
bowling
go ahead,
average?
go ahead.
I would just say, well done organizing this and advocating for it. I think you all should be very proud, and I'm looking forward to seeing those 2 lanes. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Look at Manuel's face.
Yeah, he's looking, hey, but you know what? This is one of those things that, you know, we have to write for grant money.
Mhm.
And when we write for grant money, the more partners we include on a grant, whether it's the school district, whether it's an adjacent city, whether it's the county, the more partners we have that are supporting it, the more likely it is to be funded. So thank you. So that's just a thought too. So,
Perfect.
you know, we're going to keep working on it, aren't we, Manuel?
Thank you.
Yeah, you can bow on my street if you like. Or actually, I do believe there's a house in Bradbury that has a private bowling
Yes.
alley.
Matter of fact,
Oh,
I know
wow.
exactly one of them where it is.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna go there. Maybe a special field trip, right?
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks very much
Is
for
there
coming.
anyone I could give these to?
Probably the city clerk.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. We appreciate the Mayor's Youth Council and all of the work you do. Okay, next up, we have, it would be item 3B, which is the Chamber of Commerce Annual Report. I think we have Shoshana and Adam that are going to come up.
Good evening. I'm on team bowling, by the way. Y'all need to call me. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is my first presentation to all of you, with the exception of the other day when I presented to Mr. Cruz. Thank you for having us this evening. I'm going to let the President of our Board of Directors begin, Adam Knight, with this presentation, and then I will squeeze in a little later and come back to you. There we go.
Good evening, and we do have a presentation. Before I start that, though, I do want to recognize we have Brenda Trainer, one of our board members, is here with us tonight. So just want to acknowledge her and thank her for coming out. It's been a little while since I've gotten to talk to all of you guys, and I'm excited tonight. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat a bowling alley, though. I'll try. Actually, I take that back. Shoshana is going to try to beat a bowling alley. I'm going to talk about what we did in the last year. So if we could go to the first slide. So this last year, it was an exciting year for us. It was our 100-year anniversary. And we were very grateful to be able to celebrate our 100-year with the support of the city council and the city staff. It was really a year of change. There was a lot of changes that were made. Cheryl Luffman retired. We brought on an interim director, went through an extensive search process, and ultimately we were able to find Shoshana, our new executive director. And we're so blessed to have been able to find her. She's been with us for almost 6 months now, and very excited. She's doing some amazing things that you'll hear about in just a little bit. One of her first tasks since she came on was actually bring the chamber back to fully staffed. So we were able to hire Ernest. You might have seen him at some of our events and whatnot as our administrative assistant. And then through a partnership with Foothill Workforce Development Board, we're able to bring on Ann Wilkins as our membership coordinator. She was a long-time volunteer for the chamber and has put hundreds and hundreds of hours into helping us out over the years, but it was wonderful to be able to bring her on officially as a part of our team. Perfect timing. And then we had a lot of different things that we did. Obviously, last year, we were faced with a lot of challenges. We were open, we're closed, we weren't sure what we were, but through that, we have an amazing board that was really able to help support us and keep things moving forward and keep us relevant with the offerings and services that we're able to provide to the community. One of the things that we did last year is we launched Duarte View Live. Hopefully each of you have had an opportunity to view it. It's our new YouTube channel, and we've been able to actually broadcast, share the events that are happening, give our members a new platform, a new way to be able to outreach to the community. We also had a business seminar, which is called Moving Forward. It was held right here, and I feel that it was a very pertinent seminar. It was a panel interview with several businesses that really focused not on the past of what the challenges were of the pandemic, but really focused on how we can move forward. And that event was live streamed as well as in person. Duarte View, we've reformatted Duarte View. As you guys know, we had to stop the full mass distribution and printing for financial reasons of Duarte View. But what we have done is we've stayed committed to making sure that we can still get that information out to the community. We reformatted it into more of like a magazine type format in terms of the size. That allows us to actually print lower quantities and still provide them to City Hall, various locations throughout the city, of course, the chamber, if people want them. The other thing that we've been looking at is our readership online. And a couple of the stats, last year, we've got about 1,000 visitors that are repeat visitors of viewing Duarte View. And that's not repeat visitors for 30 seconds. Those are the repeat viewers over 1 minute that are actually taking time to read the articles in it. We've also had over 10,000 views in the last year in total. So even though we're not distributing in mass, we're still able to reach a good amount of the population of Duarte and share those articles. And I'll also add that it's something that we're continuing to discuss. We are looking at the future as to where do we go from here? Are we going, do we reach a point where we're able to start mailing it again? And so those are conversations that we're keeping open. We gave out 30,000 masks, and that was a pretty big undertaking. And we had masks that came from different sources. Councilmember King was able to help connect us with a couple of sources, and then Shoshana was able to partner with the state of California. It was the emergency resource something or other. Yeah, Cal OES. And we were able to provide the KN95 masks, and we gave out over 30,000 of them to the community. We had our holiday pop-ups. We held our both in-person and virtual networking events, and we were able to just recently welcome 2 new members, the Galley Fish Grill and the Huntington Apartments, which is really exciting. After coming from 2 years of really, no new businesses opening up, it was great to be able to welcome them to the community. So now Shoshana gets to talk about the fun stuff.
That was all a lot of fun. So as we launch into 2022, we've done a couple of events already. We've had a little bit of fun. We had a party at the Huntington Apartments. We will still be officially doing a ribbon cutting. We were just working with their corporate office to get some dates, but that is coming so that you all know. So we hit the year at a full-fledged speed with a membership drive. We didn't drop that much in membership, but there's a lot of room for opportunity. So we launched with a membership drive offering a 25% off if you join before April 30th as a business and no registration fee. So that's a significant discount if you're a business of 1,000 people or more. We launched a membership program for the community. We relaunched a membership program for the community. We targeted seniors. We wanted to give them an opportunity to have a membership at a lower rate. So we offered 2 years for the price of 1 and no registration fee. We had some great responses. And in doing so, we offered to deliver our newsletter, because not everyone is internet savvy, to their front doors, either by mail or by hand in their mailboxes. We are continuing our quarterly business visits. We've relaunched that program. Our next date to visit businesses is May 12th. We have a plan in place to visit both existing members and potential new members, because while typically the reason for this program is to bring in new members, we haven't seen our old members in a while. We haven't shaken their hands and said hello and visited their businesses. So it's time to do that again. We are continuing to work with our Workforce Development Committee on these partnerships and reaching out to throughout the San Gabriel Valley. We've relaunched our monthly breakfasts. We had over 30 attendees at the last one with our speaker, Dr. Emerson, who was fantastic. And afterwards, it was a line waiting to speak to him. So it was a great response. We're going to bring back our monthly lunch and network. We're still looking for a location. Folks are eager to get back together and chat about business and what they're doing at home. We're giving it a bit of a different spin, though. We're not saying if you're just a business, you can come and network. You know what? If you're a stay-at-home mom, come and network too, because that stay-at-home mom makes my life possible because she runs the local gala. So we want everyone on board to network and get to know each other. We've had pop-up boutiques, successfully had pop-up boutiques. And it's not business as usual. It's business reimagined. So what's next? We've got a lot going on. So first and foremost, I'm going to back up a bit. We're bringing our installation dinner in. So please mark your calendars, June 25th. We are having the installation dinner at Westminster Gardens under the canopy of the trees. It'll be beautifully decorated. It'll have a very garden fresh feel. We hope you've all marked your calendars for June 25th. So I'll back up just a bit. We have, in partnership with the City of Duarte and Foothill Workforce Development, come together, and the week of May 23rd is our target date for putting together a work fair, job fair. We haven't nailed down the exact date and location, but that is in the works, as we do want to get people out there. We know that people are desperate for employees. We're trying to bring people together. That's our job. The Board of Directors installation dinner we talked about, coming soon. Targeting a launch in June. This is our big ta-da. We know the community really wants to have our Taste of Duarte back. This wasn't the year to bring it back, though. There were a number of reasons for that. We have restaurants who have been really suffering, don't have enough employees, cost of doing business is very high. To reach out to them and ask them to give their services and their food for free is not in good humor, good faith. It's not a good thing to do right now. However, we did come up with a different plan. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to launch a farmer's market, and in partnership with Santa Teresita, we found a location. And we hope to do this either the end of May or beginning of June. We've also partnered with the South Pasadena Chamber of Commerce. They have agreed to incubate our farmers market for the first 3 to 6 months to get us on our feet. Their farmers market manager will stay on board with us, help us find a farmers market manager, process all of our paperwork, which is an intricate process, and walk us through the process until we're there. That would be on Wednesday evenings at Santa Teresita's. The launch date, we are cautiously optimistic, of the last week of May. And our team is here. Sister Maria Estelle and Monica, who we've been working closely with to make this move forward.
And that's Sister Maria Estelle that makes the amazing fudge from Santa Teresita, right?
They will have the first and the last booth at the farmer's market. So you get them coming and going. And then that's it. I think we've covered everything. Oh,
Okay.
we did not talk about the Women's Business Expo. I am so sorry. I skipped over that. That's actually my the most exciting thing for me. When I learned that this was a part of our program, I jumped on it. In fact, I started planning that before I started planning everything else. I've got a location and a date and a committee together. And then Adam said, you know, we should maybe plan all those other things before the Women's Business Expo. Okay, fine. So we have secured the DoubleTree Hotel. It will be October 6th. We have a committee of amazing people on board. We are again targeting folks from all walks of business, stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, working dads. We're really focusing on everyone. We are currently looking for a keynote speaker. We've reached out to Teresa Samaniego at KBC to see if she'd loan us one of her anchors or on the road folks. She's looking into it. There's no promises. We've reached out to Carolyn Batetta at California Tourism to see if she'll send us a leader as well. So we're working hard and fast to make that move forward. We've switched things around in case you haven't noticed. We're doing our installation dinner on a Saturday night and we're doing our business expo on a weekday. And that was intentional. People want to go out in the evening, stay out late, have a few drinks, not have to get up the next morning. But at a business expo, we want to be able to do it during the business day. And that's it. Do you have any questions?
Okay, do any of my colleagues have questions or comments?
I have a question about your workforce development. Are you engaging Kevin Morris from MIT in that discussion? Okay,
We are engaging Kevin Morris.
He's
Yes,
actually the chair of that committee.
correct.
okay, well, let us
And
know
we've
what support
just-
you need from us.
We've just re-engaged. So we don't have a lot to report on that yet, but we've just re-engaged. So we'll have more on that in about 2 weeks.
Great. And I just talked to him at the MIT open house like a week ago. So I had a feeling, but since you brought it up, I wanted to ask.
Yes.
So let us know how we can support. Thank you.
I will.
Sam?
I think the farmer's market is a great idea. We certainly need something here to have all the constituents to congregate and have that synergy. And that's something I think will be very, very special for us. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good idea.
And actually, just along those lines, council member, I just want to kind of share a couple other details. Part of what's got me excited about the farmer's market. This farmer's market is not a pop-up shop. It's not a flea market. We are really focused on the healthy, organic city of health aspect of it. We're looking at maintaining 60% of all of the booths being, farmed goods that are actually being sold to the public. And we're looking at also making sure that it's something that's accessible to everybody. And one of the ways that we're doing that is we're looking at allowing EBT cards to be able to be used at the farmer's market. So really reaching our senior population as well as some of those that may be in need of some fresh goods and struggling to pay for them a little bit. So just a couple
Good.
other little exciting things with it.
Good.
And to take that a step further, we're also wrapping that in an omni-channel marketing plan because you don't just put in a farmer's market and expect everybody to come, right? So we will be working with a PR agency who specializes in understanding how to market these. So just a fun idea would be to get all the farmers to send us fresh goods, and we'll send baskets of fruit or baskets of vegetables or bouquets of flowers to influencers, mommy bloggers, and micro and macro newspapers in the community. And our plan is to do that for a full year because we know it's not going to happen overnight. In fact, everyone's going to have a little bit of patience as we build it. But within a year, we do believe we can do it.
Okay, other questions? Zeidel?
I just wanted to mention your incoming president walked in.
Oh, hi.
You didn't smack your flip-flops loud enough.
Victor Benavidez, our incoming president from City of Hope.
And then just one.
You just got back from the
I'll
beach.
loan you my jacket.
Vic, as long as you're at the Rotary meeting tomorrow, then you're excused for your flip-flops.
Well, I just wanted to say, I think this is wonderful. I know that the chamber had gone through several challenges and struggles and so forth in the last year or two, probably even before that. But I am so glad that we were able to invest a one-time amount in order for you to get back on the feet. And this was going to be the year, whether or not it was either go time or we're kind of done. So I am very glad to hear all the stuff that's coming back, the stuff that's been reimagined. And quite frankly, it's really exciting for our business communities, but also our residents, because I believe that the chamber, especially now, is really bringing into account what the residents can bring into this. So in addition to the offering of memberships. So I'm glad that Santa Teresita is a partner with the farmers market. I think that's going to be a great venue right off the bike trail. People can cross at the Nun Crossing and get to the farmers market. City of Health, have them walk, give them a map to walk. Everything's basically less than a mile and a half away walking. So it'll be good exercise and they can carry their bags home. So yeah, you should give away bags too. All right, but great job. And I'm glad to hear all the wonderful upcoming events.
Okay, thank you, Chamber.
Thank you for your
We-
time.
We appreciate you. And trust me, there have been some chambers that they were tough years. So we truly appreciate you.
Yep.
Okay, now we are at item 3C. And who is that masked man? Oh, that's right, no mask.
No mask today. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is my monthly update. I have quite a bit to go over. That's really not even on the sheet because it's been a busy week and a half or so for us. I will cover what's on the sheet though. When I write this, it's usually the Monday prior, so this is a week old. When I wrote it, we were down 22%, which is fantastic on Part 1 crimes. Currently, as of yesterday, we're only down 8.04%. Not as great, but still really good. There are a lot of cities that would trade places with us in a heartbeat to be down in Part 1 crimes. I know the only one at the station is the unincorporated county areas, and all the other cities are plus on their Part 1 crimes. So we're still doing well, which kind of gets us to Saturday and our one homeless individual who's been a public nuisance since he arrived in town. He was arrested again. I did send an email out detailing the incidents, but he was charged with 7 different crimes. I believe 5 of them felonies. There were 13 victims as a result of vandalism and assaults, including the deputies. He was arrested. He is in custody still. We are pleading with the DAs to file appropriately. We will see. We are working on compiling his whole case history as well as the number of times we've had to respond to calls for service regardless of arrests. And we're going to work on sending a letter to Gascon prior to our meeting with him next week. And this is one of those cases where he said the habitual offenders will be charged. So we're going to put that to a test with this guy because he's been a habitual offender. To that point, I did want to note, it wasn't signed as of this report being written, but we were working with Silver and Wright. You might remember that name. That's our law firm that handles code enforcement. They, in talking with them, they actually have a district attorney that sits in one of their partners. And they were offering this service to other cities, but they are prosecuting misdemeanor crimes. And so in working with them and working through the deal, we've put together a pilot project that will go for the next, till the end of June. And then will be placed on the budget for budgetary points and talks when we do our next budget. Anyways, what's going to happen is we're working with them to start prosecuting our municipal code only, because we don't require the approval of the district attorney to prosecute those. If we wanted to prosecute felonies, or excuse me, penal code or health and safety code like Whittier and I think Santa Fe Springs are asking to do, we would have to ask permission. We do not need permission to do this. So we're going to move forward with it. We're going to beef up our municipal code. So we will be bringing back to council several municipal code ordinances for your approval that we would be used. And so the deputies and our code enforcement would be able to cite for municipal code violations, and we would file them through their office like a city prosecutor. So instead of having the district attorney reject all those cases, we will file them through their office, and they will follow up. They will attend the arraignment and attend everything else up to the trial. Trial will be separate from this agreement. So that is already in the works. We're moving fast and forward through this. We met with Captain Reyes Operations and the Detective Bureau today to kind of work out the finer details of the paperwork, but that will start April 1st. And we're looking at, hopefully this makes a significant impact on the quality of life crimes that we're seeing around the city that aren't being prosecuted right now. They have been very successful, not only in the prosecution part, but in asking for stay away orders, meaning they can't hang out at a certain corner where they're creating havoc like Buena Vista and Huntington. And so that's going to be really important as we move forward in some of our other locations where we have drinking and stuff like that, that's out in public. So we look forward to doing this, and I think it'll help us as we move forward. Let's see. Last week, based on a tip from a Crime Stoppers tip that went through the Temple Sheriff Station, we were alerted to potential sexual activity at Rainbow Spa. They were offering sexual favors for money that were off the books in furtherance of a massage. Based on those tips, we did conduct a sting. We did arrest one of the techs last week. The owner has since shut down his business, pulled his business license, and pulled his CUP because he was trying to open a second business in Duarte. And so now Rainbow Spa is no longer. And so that's one problem that's off the books. 2 months ago, we had a tip on Citrus View that there was an illegal gambling occurring out of a residence down on Citrus View. Based on that, our special assignment deputies conducted an investigation, made arrests, wrote a warrant. As a result of the warrant, we contacted the owner, cited her for 51 different violations. We worked through Rattan and Tucker to file a notice and order on them, and which compelled an agreement to not only fix up the place, but they paid us $26,000 to recover our attorney's fees and our staff time in the investigation. We already got that check as of yesterday, so that's good news. And let's see, we've been working, I say Victoria, myself, and a lot of other staff have been working very hard with Burtec to comply with all of the new laws that have gone into effect. More notably, the acronyms of MORE and MCR. MORE stands for Mandatory Organic Recycling, and MCR stands for Mandatory Commercial Recycling. And that's in preparation for SB 1383. It's been a little slow and tedious, and Cal Recycle has chided us for that. You know, it's been problematic on getting a list that's up to date and current and from Burtec, and going through that list and double and triple checking it. We're at the point now where we have issued our first citations, and I mentioned this now because businesses might reach out to you because we've had our calls are our phones ringing off the hook. It's slow and tedious. I'm guessing on Burtec's side because they deal with multiple cities and there's multiple calls, and I don't know how they clear it, but the process is slow on their side in really updating the list to where we have a current list to work for to see who truly complied with the laws. We did work around it based off of really a suggestion by the Cal Recycle, which is mandatory enrollment. So we did request Burtech based off of when the citations will end, which I believe is March 22nd, I believe. May 20th, April 22nd, April 22nd. Yeah, we're in March. Based off of that, we gave correctable citations out to 30 days. We wanted to let that process finish. Once it finishes, Vertex going to take over. They're going to do automatic enrollment. And the reason being is we're not going to get to 100% compliance if we continue to try to do citations and fix a list that we can't get current. This way, we know for sure everybody will be on the list that has to do what they have to do. And then they have to figure a way if they don't need it because they haven't applied or responded to our citations or letters or to Vertex. So then they'll have to work backwards. But that gets us off Cal Recycle's naughty list, which is what is the big concern for us because we're the ones that get cited or fined by them. So that gains full compliance. It also gets us on the road to being compliant for the next step, which is SB 1383. And we have calls on that tomorrow, and we've been dealing with that for much too long and a lot of calls, but we are close.
Brian,
Yes.
can I ask a question really quick? So I do have a restaurant.
Which restaurant?
They are
Which one?
J&A.
We cleared them this morning.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
That's why I figured I'd know because we're on the most current list and we're trying to fast forward all that list to the point person at Burtech that's supposed to be handling our section. So we're working hard and we appreciate all
I
the
know you are.
businesses and all of the multifamily units that are calling us
Right.
concerned because I know that they're talking with Burtech and there's a lag. So rest assured, we're going out of our way to assist and not penalize. It's really only those people that have received citations that have no response at all to us that will end up being penalized for this.
Copy that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then really last but not least, I did want to note Azusa and the Army Corps did conduct a cleanup in the riverbed area. We assisted by providing 3 roll-offs for the cleanup. They removed, let's see, they removed 128 tons of trash and debris. They had homeless outreach to 40 homeless individuals. None of them took up the offer of services. All were gone by the time the cleanup started. And so that was conducted a few weeks ago.
Here.
And Tony did assist in the Lassa homeless count. We're still waiting on those numbers. And when they come out, we'll make sure you're aware of them. And that is all I have. Are there any questions?
Okay, questions? Okay.
I'm sorry, I did miss one thing real quick before the question. I was remiss in ever getting back to Councilmember Garcia's question about Ring. And we finally got an answer back. So if you remember, Ring was bought by Amazon. So when we did our agreement with Ring, they were in the process of being purchased by Amazon and they honored our agreements. They no longer offer that kind of service or agreement. We are out there looking and beating the bushes, trying to figure another way, but as of now, we don't have one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm
Okay,
sorry. Next
Tony?
question. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, sir. Thank you. The Citrus View house, did we get a court order for them to sell it or how,
No. So the agreement is they paid for attorney's fees and staff time recovery costs. They then had to submit a plan by a licensed contractor and pull permits to rehab the place because the place was gutted. They wrapped the windows and the walls with foil, insulated foil for a grow house, as well as modifications and secured locations and closing off of doors to further their gambling site and provide security on that. So all of that will be turned back into a residential place and been brought up to code.
Okay, Sam?
Got a question really quick. I think maybe perhaps it's the same house, but I believe there was an illegal 420 growth. They're growing and caught on fire. Am I recalling correctly?
That was actually in Irwindale on
Okay.
Central. That was in one of the kind of warehouse type areas down there, right across from our park.
Okay,
on the south side, which is the city of Irwindale.
I see.
It was an illegal grow. I didn't hear a cause back, but usually it's electrical in those cases because they pull a large amount of electrical illegally off the line. But it was a total loss inside. And it was a marijuana grow.
No, that's too bad. Okay. I'm sure everyone was very happy or high. I'm just kidding.
Sam. Jody?
I just want to say thank you, public safety, code enforcement, and the sheriffs. You all are rock stars between this Mr. Smith stuff, the homelessness, getting the public defender, the stuff going on over at the Huntington that you were on top of as soon as you found out about it. Just really, I couldn't be more grateful or think more of the people than of anyone than I think of you guys. So know that, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Councilmember Schultz. And you reminded me, please pass on, and I think we get this message out, but it still doesn't happen, is if any businesses, residents are dealing with homeless issues, don't just sit there and be frustrated about it. Let us know, because there's sometimes it's not an easy fix, but at least we'll start working on fixing it.
I absolutely do. I actually
So-
think I see at least one person who who actually took me up on my offer and came tonight. So yeah, I definitely do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Caesar.
Brian, thank you for getting back to me on the
You're
whole
welcome.
ring issue. I know that catalytic converters continue to be popular for, what do you call them?
Catalytic converter theft. They're very popular to the
I'll
thieves,
stop
yes.
right there. And I know you're partnering with Mountain View Tire and Auto Service. Can you explain a little more on that,
Yes,
please?
absolutely. And thank you. That was in my report. So I did want to highlight it. You might have caught, if you were signed up for Nixle, that we did send an alert out last week about the thefts and what 100 blocks they occurred. They're exploding again. I know other cities, I get other city alerts are dealing with the same thing, but we do still have a partnership with Mountain View Tires. That's the Goodyear that's located in our Target Shopping Center. Just mention that you're going there. You don't have to purchase anything from them, but they will lift it up, and then we bought them actually the engraver, and they'll engrave identifiable marks, usually a license number from the person, and this way we can trace it when we arrest somebody that has 10 of those in their trunk or in their car. We can at least track it back to the victim and tie a victim to the crime and arrest them on it. Instead of just receiving stolen property, we know for sure it's stolen property and where. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions or comments? The only thing I have to say is I talked with our Congresswoman, Grace DiPolitano, the other day. She actually won the highest citizens award for the Army Corps of Engineer, which is huge here in the United States. So if there's something, maybe we could get a letter out to her officially from the city. Grace is 85 years old, and she is still doing an amazing job representing us. But we talked about our homeless situation, and she had said, basically, she said, if you need any extra help, just call me, because she and the Army Corps of Engineers are right like that. So anyway.
She put her money where her mouth is, and I know that
She does.
the Army Corps is in the process of putting together a plan to do a final, not a final cleanup, hopefully it's a final cleanup, but a comprehensive cleanup from the mountains, really almost south of City of Hope. So that will be very impactful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I also was taking a look at, the homeless count from 2020, where Duarte had 25, Monrovia 77, Arcadia 106, Glendora 145, and Azusa 243. And I know we're waiting on the 2022 count. Do you think it's going to be radically different from this?
I think we're all going to see a little bit more
I see.
on our numbers.
But you think the percentages are pretty much going to?
I think the percentage will stay pretty close. Just looking at where we have, we all benefited from the gold line, but we've also had a little bit of drawback on the
Sure.
gold line, and all of our cities have stations, and I think we saw a lot of influx because of that. But I think the last 2 years, they increased slightly on the numbers just from from everyone else doing whatever they're doing, city, LA, Whittier and everywhere else that have built shelters and or started enforcing their code. And so they've moved on. But I think we went up slightly and I think the other cities went up slightly as well. That's just my gut feeling.
Okay, all right. Good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
An outstanding report and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have item 4, which is announcements of upcoming community events. And for some reason, I think, is Joanna out there? Is she being hidden by the cameraman? Okay, Joanna. And I did want to just go ahead and make mention that we have another chamber board member who just came in. I didn't even recognize you, Dylan, without a coat and tie on. Dylan Wong from the bank down the street, One West. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Joanna G. from Duarte Library. Our last story time of the month will be on March 25th at 11 a.m. Registration is required. Our next session will start on Friday, April 15th at 11 a.m. We have our teen program tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. and that's Fun with Ozobots. Registration is required. We also have personalized pencil boxes for kids ages 5 to 12, and that's on Wednesday, March 30th at 4 p.m. We also have a special program coming up in April. It is called Celebrate Dia Food Traditions and Family Fun, and that's going to be on Saturday, April 23rd at 2 p.m. For more programs, please check our website. Any questions? Thank you.
I think you've covered it all, Joanna. Thank you very much. And now we have Victoria.
Yes, good evening. So there's still time to sign up for the Cesar Chavez Day of Service happening this Saturday at Westminster Gardens from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. To volunteer, you just register at accessduarte.com and then click on register for recreation programs to complete your participant registration. For more information, you can contact Parks and Rec at 626-357-7931. Please note that Westminster Gardens as a campus for all of its visitors, and then for that day, the volunteers will be required to show proof of full vaccination booster included or a PCR test with negative results within 48 hours of check-in. But there's still time to volunteer. It's great when everyone comes out and we'd love to see you there. State of the City and Schools is coming up on Tuesday, April 5th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It'll start out in this room. The Duarte Community Center will be welcomed by Mayor Finley and Board President Reina Diaz. There'll be a presentation with a video, and then everyone is invited to join out in the courtyard for a reception that will include heavy appetizers and some twinkle lights, and it should be.
When is this again? I'm
It's
sorry.
April 5th, Tuesday, April 5th.
Tuesday, same.
And we'll even have some entertainment from school district students. So jazz band's coming out. We'll have some of the students from the choir. It should be a really nice evening. Coming up on Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m., we're going to have the Duarte Spring Fashion Show in partnership with Macy's of Santa Anita, excuse me. Don't miss our first fashion show highlighting the spring's clothing line at Macy's. Local teens, seniors, and families will show off their amateur modeling skills while raising funds for the Duarte Teen Center and boxing program. I think some of you might be models, if I know correctly. I know City Manager Dan
Jackets.
Jordan is going to be a model. So that right there is worth it to go out and see the spring fashions.
Wait a minute. Is this time for an emoji?
Wait. I think he's too sexy for that. I'm too sexy.
Allow me to tell you the costs here. Pre-sale is $8 and $10 at the door. The City of Hope Blood Drive in partnership with Foothill Credit Union is going to be taking place on Wednesday, April 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, right here in the Duarte Community Center. I had mentioned last time that Foothill Credit Union had reached out to us in partnership to benefit the great City of Hope that we have here in Duarte. Blood needs are huge at this moment. So please sign up at, oh, I forgot to write down the website, you guys. I think it's I donate. Look up the City of Hope website, Google blood drives, and then search Duarte, and it should be there. It's also though on our website. And we hope to have everyone come out. There'll be lots of swag being given away by Foothill Credit Union. I think everyone from City of Hope is going to be, they'll be giving away an In-N-Out gift card to everyone who comes out. So it's really important, and please donate.
And which day is that going to be,
That
Victoria?
is Wednesday, April 13th.
Okay,
And then lastly, I wanted to announce Duarte Egg Fest, Saturday, April 16th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. 10 a.m. sharp, and it's right there in the city news, sharp is the egg hunt. That'll be taking place at Encanto Park, so that's at 751 Encanto Parkway. Duarte Parks and Recreation Department invites residents to hop on over to Duarte Egg Fest 2022. This free springtime annual event will include an egg hunt with thousands of eggs filled with candy or treats for youth ages 3 to 10, crafts, games, music, and photos, of course, with the Easter Bunny. Any questions?
anybody?
Manual for the win. I donate blood for hope.org.
Okay, good.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks, Victoria. Okay. Next, we have oral communications, and someone signed up here, which I think this is probably the appropriate time on this. Let's see. Brian Tyndall.
Hi. Thank you, staff and council, for taking time. I just wanted to ring the bell a little bit and let you guys know that Bradbury is proposing a new development of 112 acres in the foothills. It's going to be 3 parcels, actually. I'd love to tell you that it's going to impact your traffic, but it's only going to be 14 houses. Something I did want to point out on their environmental impact report there are a lot of trees up there, but it's actually undisturbed oak wilderness, which is pretty rare considering all the fires we've had in Duarte, Azusa, Monrovia, and all that stuff. So this is kind of a hillside that we should be protecting. On the east side, it actually butts up to the Duarte Wilderness Preserve. And something that I wanted to point out is of the environmental impact report, 428 trees are in the report and 362 of those trees are going to be removed. So that's a lot of trees that are going to be removed in a wilderness area that is prone to fire and is going to negatively impact the views for everybody around us.
Brian, are they predominantly oaks?
Yes, if you give me a second.
And it seems to me this has been pretty unanimous as far as their council up there, their planning commission.
I just got the environmental impact from somebody in Monrovia, so that's why I wanted to come over. I know that Monrovia is already taking action against this, but I thought that you guys might want to know about it as well, if you didn't, because I didn't know about it.
Are we working on that at all?
Yes,
Yeah, I think, yeah, you sent me something on it, didn't you, Craig? Okay, and has anybody talked with the Bradbury city manager yet?
Mayor, just because this is public comment, I
got
do
it.
refer
Oh, sorry. I'll
the
finish and then
commentary
you
to
guys can-
staff
sorry.
afterwards. Thank you.
It's riparian habitat. So 102 of the trees are considered riparian habitat. 23 sycamores, 78 live oak, and 1 royal willow. So that's the trees specifically. But I just wanted to raise awareness for this, and it seems like you guys already know about it. So that's fabulous. And thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much. We appreciate your coming, Brian.
Can I add one thing since you have, what happened to the physical fitness part of the meeting?
I know, it's sad ever since COVID. Yeah, we want to bring it back. It was a
Okay.
good idea.
That was all.
COVID got it, Brian.
Okay, do we have other people that would like to speak under oral communications? Okay, seeing no one, I believe we are at item. Well, let's see, I think we just go, unless somebody has something, okay, well, let's just go to consent, unless this consent's going to take a long time. Do we have a motion for consent?
Move consent.
Second.
Jinx.
Jinx. My kids will be like Jinx.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar, which actually is only 6 things tonight. So is there any discussion? Any objections? Okay, if not, so ordered. So now we are at item 8, which is the public hearing, and that is to be held or heard at 8 o'clock. So let's go ahead and I will, Annette, have we gotten anything?
Mayor, just to be strictly compliant, it is only 7:59. So maybe we'll wait. Ooh, 30 seconds.
Oh.
What, a physical fitness, 30 seconds? Touch your toes?
Good idea, Caesar. Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Well, for the sake of COVID, let's see if everybody can hold their breath for 30 seconds.
It's true. Okay. Now. Well, we can go ahead and talk about it right now because it is 7:59. And we will shortly be coming to 8 o'clock. So we've got to find out if there has there been anything that we've heard about at all, because it's 8 o'clock right now.
Yes, Mayor, we did receive one public comment via email. It was submitted by the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation regarding compliance with the federal and state redistricting laws, urging the council to reject map 105 and closely analyze map 108 to ensure compliance with the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And that is the only comment that was emailed in.
Did you forward that on to us at all?
The comment was submitted directly to all of the council along with our redistricting website. I can forward it on to you.
Good. Mine must have gone to spam because I did not get it. Did you? Oh, there it is. Okay. Does anybody need further time to read this or analyze it? Okay. Then we will go ahead and open the public hearing, and that's the only thing we heard. Is that right? Is from them? Nothing on other emails or?
That is correct. That is the only one that I have received.
Okay, then what I have here
Ma-
is.
Mayor Finley, I'm sorry, excuse me. We also, I believe, we have our consultant from NDC, Jeff Simonani, who is joining us via Zoom.
Okay.
I think that's that little.
That's the green
That
thing?
little telephone image actually is
Okay.
Jeff. Yes.
Okay. Then let's. All right. Is Jeff going to talk or what's going to happen here?
Hey, Jeff.
Yes,
Are you
good
on?
evening. I'm here. Yes, would be happy to answer any questions that the council has in the process. And yes, I'm here there's no specific presentation this evening. Again, we're just kind of working on the focus maps and moving forward, potentially one for consideration this evening. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions or comments that the council or the public may have in the process.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Before you do that, I think we want to have people. Okay, is there anybody in the public that's here at our meeting? If they would like to go ahead and speak up, I have something from, I believe it's Steve Hernandez. Yeah, I'm sorry, get the what? Okay. I don't think, I don't know, maybe we're going to go through all the maps. I don't know, but.
Mayor, this is the time for public comment because it is a public hearing. The council does not discuss until after closing the public hearing, receiving public input.
If you must. Well, actually, it's fine with me. I did go through the maps, the revised maps, and I have to say that I thought number 4 revised number 4 was probably the best one. And what I saw in there was primarily Margaret's area. We have 3 areas that are in common, have one thing in common, and that is fires and floods. And that's basically the northern part of Vineyard. That would also include Las Lomas. And then we have Mount Olive, and then I believe that's Brook Ridge. right?
Brook Ridge.
Yeah, up on the mountain. They are all set right up against the mountains, and they're all basically, if there's a fire or anything, they're the first to get affected. 2 of these areas, especially the northern part of Vineyard and Mount Olive, have only one exit. And because of that, I really feel that they need to be joined together. They really need to have their own district because they are going to have needs, and they're going to have preparations and stuff to make, that having basically one council member coordinate with the neighborhoods on that would be probably the wisest thing for all of us, especially if some of them were to go through CERT training as well. I would also like to see that, because we would need emergency response teams up there that can help, because again, it's like the southern part south of the 210 freeway. You can get cut off very easily from the rest of the city. And that's what I think that I saw as most important about that area. So that was why I thought 8 really needed to be drawn the way it was across the top. It doesn't need to fall down very far. For example, I would say north of Sunny Slope and basically Brook Ridge itself would be the other border, and then Las Lomas, it would just be where it, goes right up to the mountains. So.
Okay, you said map number 4. Are you talking about map 104?
I think, yeah, 104. and it's
Revised.
The revised one, yeah.
Okay.
It really answered a lot of questions that I had in that, and I really felt that that was probably one of the wisest maps I saw in there. So what I
Okay.
got to say, and I did it before you guys got to talk.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
And thank your attorney.
All right, Ann.
Mayor and council and staff. Mine is much less critical than Steve's. Looking at the maps, it's hard for me to tell where the boundaries are as far as streets. And for those of us who don't know all of the streets, it would be nice if you could label at least the boundary streets so that we could tell what district we're in or might be in.
Agreed, Ann, and trust me, I have asked for that time and time again.
Thank you.
Sure, this is when I speak now, but it's be on the public hearing agenda.
Yes,
Okay,
we'll tell you if it's not.
okay. My name is Sharon Sharp. I'm the president of Greenfield Homes HOA, which is on San Domingo, and that's where you're.
No, this is, okay, this isn't quite yet.
That's
I will
what
call you
wanted.
up, Sharon, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yes, yes, that'll be under 9B, okay? I'll have you come up then, thank you. Okay, do we want any other questions answered? I guess we've got Jeff on the phone, so he can go ahead and.
I'd like to ask Jeff, can we make that happen and add the street, the bordering street names so the.
Mayor, pardon me, before we go on, will you please close the public hearing?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we can go ahead and close the public hearing unless we can reopen it if somebody else comes in. Okay, we'll close it for now. Okay, I'm sorry, Vin, go ahead.
Can we make that happen, Jeff, so that the residents can actually see where they belong? There's a bunch of lines here with no street names, just for their information.
And frankly, we kind of understand it, but as much as I've looked at these maps over and over and over, it is really hard to determine exactly where they are.
Yes, we can do that. So the maps that you're looking at in the packet are just for sort of the PDFs for the packet. But if you go to the website and go to drawduarte.org and you go to the draft maps tab and go to the interactive review map, we've updated that so you can actually just type in your address to see which district that you're in. So yes, that's all there on the website. But in terms of the PDFs, yes, if you'd like us to add those to the PDFs as well, yes, we can.
Is it possible for staff to share the screen so we can understand clearly rather than just talking about it?
In terms of
the map,
the interactive review map?
Someone's working on it. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Rocha, I think he wants to try and show the interactive elements of the map. I think that's, if you go up to, Jeff, where is it again? Unfortunately, I can't see.
Yeah, so go to drawduarte.org. And then if you go to the draft maps tab, and if you click on the interactive review map.
There it is.
There it goes.
There we go.
There it goes.
Yeah, but if you gotta go through all that.
And you'll see there too, there's a feature where you can type in your address and it'll show you which district you're in.
It's right there on the left, right next to this.
Can we just make it a lot simpler and just put all the major lines, put the names on them, the name of the street on them? Because if you got to go through all that, I could tell you right now, I wouldn't have went through all that. I would just say forget it, and I'll just turn the computer off. I mean, it's simple if you look at the maps and it has just to put it. I know it has to be simple. You did.
We can, Councilmember Lewis, we can absolutely
we can do
create
that,
some, create some PDF maps that are simple things you can touch and actually see the streets on there.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
So
Maybe you can put Santo Domingo. You're welcome. And at least it might. Is it showing? No, needs a number. What's the address of West? 1420 Santo Domingo. There it is.
There it is.
Address of Cabarrus.
No,
Duarte.
no.
No.
This is some good live television here, Ms. Rocha.
It's in Duarte.
I know. There.
Great,
oh,
go
wait.
back, go back. One more,
More.
one more. There you go.
No.
Right? It was right.
No, wait, take Dory out. I mean, take the D out. Let's see.
Okay.
There it is.
First
That
one on
top
top.
Get off my base.
That's so random.
And what did we
So-
learn from that?
So it
That's
is
in-
District 2.
It's a blue.
PDS.
I know, but it still doesn't have,
They still don't tell you what a border is.
Yeah, it does. So the border of District 2 is Oak Avenue. Can you click off of that little icon? It borders Oak Avenue, Broadland Avenue, Highland Avenue, and Central Avenue.
Bradford, yeah. Yep, Central.
So that's the bordering of District 2. So is this a proper time for me? So I'd like to make a statement. I know we've been doing this redistricting for Gs, I don't know, since December now, I think, right? So it's been quite a few meetings we have. I would like to be the first one to recommend a map that we move forward on. I like personally map 101, but it's not going to happen. If I am doing what I'm supposed to do, I would like to adopt map 103. To me, it is the most compact map. It meets all the guidelines of the Fair Maps Act. And it is the revised 103 version. I think that meets all the criteria for the Fair Maps Act.
I second it.
I don't see 103 revised. Am I missing that?
It's on the,
I know, but I'm just looking
yeah, on there,
here.
it's not showing.
Open that up. There's a subcategory right there.
Mhm.
Oh, right, go to the side of it.
The arrow on the right.
Arrow on the right.
No, the revised is, it's Mr. Lewis's Walmart.
I don't see it
Correction
there.
is not Mr. Lewis's, it's the constituents of the Wardies.
We all benefit from Walmart.
All right, let me rephrase that. District 7.
If you move away from the interactive one and just go to the regular maps, you would be able to see it.
Yeah.
We need to update that.
103 revised.
I second for the same reason. I think that it's compact. I think that the communities of interest, so for example, 3, homelessness, I think 1 is a fire, bear, hazard area. 5 is residential along Royal Oaks and Huntington, and 2 is residential in Rancho Duarte. 6 and 7, there are lower socioeconomic areas. And then 4 is our business district. So I think there are communities of interest represented in each of these. And their compactness represents the communities of interest as I've described them. So I second the motion for 103 revised to be elevated for the first reading.
Okay. Other thoughts? Okay, I would like to make a substitute motion, and this would be for map 104 revised. And it is for, obviously, most of these maps are kind of the same, except for predominantly the areas of 1, 5, and 3, and even 2, but basically 4, 6, and 7 are the same. And I believe that we are splitting up a huge community of interest, and that is where the people have been evacuated for floods and fires. And so that's why I would look at the revised of 104. I also know that we have someone out in the audience. We have some people here that worked really hard on getting fireworks stopped in our community. And it was predominantly that area up there where 1 is right now. And again, I've been part of the evacuations, and my family have been part of the evacuations for the fires and floods. We also have a number of people in that area that have the bear-proof trash cans. Matter of fact, when we had a number of years ago, a lot of bear incidents, we flew someone down from Fish and Game, and we met at Valley View School to go ahead and talk about the incidents. And we had a lot of people from that area because people were concerned, not only about bears getting to their trash cans, but they were becoming more and more aggressive. So I believe that is part of the community of interest. Something else in that area is we've had several council meetings on the deer being impaled on fences in those areas. And the people in that area of 1 would be impacted if we end up having to do something with fences up there. So I think, in my opinion, I think it looks better to go ahead and just take one right across the top there. And I believe that looks more compact. So it's just kind of a matter of opinion. I sit on the Regional Housing Trust Board for homelessness and for housing. And it's something that I think that I have addressed on a number of areas, and I think Jody has also. So those are my thoughts on 104 versus 103. And I think they are revised for both of them. That would be my interest.
I mean, you would just be looking for a second for the sub motion now. If not, the motion dies.
Okay.
Or
So-
it doesn't, get a second and doesn't get a vote.
Okay, so that would be my substitute motion is for 104 revised. Okay, dies for lack of a second. Does anyone else have anything they want to discuss? Okay.
I have a question. So this moves the map up to be elevated to be the map that we'll be working on, moving on from here?
So the
We
motion
have to
was,
vote.
if
We have to
it is
vote.
voted
Yeah,
on
if it's
Yeah.
voted
and
on.
This would be
passes,
for elevating.
103 revised would have, staff would prepare the ordinance to adopt 103 revised for first reading at a special meeting.
Okay. Have any other comments or should we call for the question? Any other comments? We can open the public hearing if anybody has anything they want to say.
Calling for the question would be just.
Calling for the question means that debate
Yeah.
stops and then we
make
go
a
ahead
vote.
and we take a vote on it because frankly, I don't see anything going anywhere right now. So we can call for the question, which would be a vote. Okay,
I would, yeah, if we can call for the question, because I can hear a pin drop here. Nobody wants to talk about this. right now.
okay, let's go ahead and take a roll call vote.
Councilmember Kane,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis,
Aye.
Councilmember Trong,
Yes.
Councilmember Schultz,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Paris Karachi,
Yes.
Mayor Finley.
No. Okay, that passes and that will be the map that is elevated. And okay, so that was fast. And now we have the, let's see, this would be item 9. And we are going to go ahead and have our public hearing on this.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. So the item before you tonight is the proposed repeal of the city's inclusionary housing ordinance, which implements a citywide inclusionary housing program requiring new residential developments to provide a minimum percentage of affordable housing units, or alternatively, pay a fee to the city's inclusionary housing trust fund in lieu of constructing those affordable housing units. The ordinance was adopted in 2005, effectively as a way of facilitating the development of affordable housing within the city. But in the years following, various external factors, including the Great Recession of 2007 to 2009, as well as the dissolution of redevelopment agencies, along with the set of side funds that were intended to supplement the Inclusionary Housing Trust Fund, ultimately led to the program's failure to produce kind of any results. And by that, 0 housing units, affordable housing units were constructed, and only a minimal amount of funds were deposited into the Inclusionary Housing Trust. And not a significant enough amount in order to actually further the development or creation of affordable housing. So as a result of that, in 2016, the city did adopt a municipal code amendment to temporarily suspend the program for a period of 5 years. That went into effect in July 2016 and then sunsetted in August 2021. So at this juncture, we need to determine kind of the future of the inclusionary housing ordinance. During this suspension period, inclusionary housing feasibility study was completed in conjunction with the 6th cycle housing element update. And that study which was eventually incorporated into the city's adopted housing element, utilized a pro forma analysis to determine the financial feasibility of projects under the city's inclusionary housing ordinance. In short, the analysis found that in Duarte, the rate of return on multifamily residential developments is already below the average rate of return throughout the county. And by incorporating an additional inclusionary housing in lieu fee, that rate of return is further reduced, thereby significantly reducing the overall financial feasibility of such projects within our city. So in a competitive development environment where you have other cities that don't have inclusionary housing in lieu fees, that makes our city less appealing for potential new development. The minimal amount of development that occurred during the first 10 years of the program, as compared to the more than 900 housing units that were in development in the time following the suspension of the program, is really indicative of kind of the encumbrance that the inclusionary housing ordinance has had upon development. So ultimately, the feasibility study suggests that the use of alternative tools, including state funding mechanisms, as well as kind of state mandated streamlining development processes will better.
If you don't mind, can you speak a little bit louder? I'm just having a hard time hearing you. Thank you.
So the use of alternative tools, including state funding mechanisms and state mandated streamlining development processes, are ultimately better at kind of aiding and incentivizing affordable housing without necessarily incurring additional costs upon developers in the same fashion that the inclusionary housing ordinance does. Based on the findings of the feasibility study, the adopted 2021 to 2029 housing element effectively included an implementation action to repeal the inclusionary housing ordinance. And the State Department of Housing and Community Development has essentially kind of certified and concurred with this assessment via their certification of the city's housing element, which is only one of 6 within the entire SCAG region, which includes 191 jurisdictions that has been certified to date. So with that, staff and the Planning Commission's recommendation to the City Council tonight is that you introduce ordinance number 908, repealing chapter 19.30 inclusionary housing and modifying chapter 19.10 residential zones and chapter 19.160 definitions within Title 19 of the Development Code of the City of Duarte Municipal Code. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments? Sam, your buzzer's on, or your light's on.
Well, can I make a comment really quick? This is the subdivision that I have a few constituents. They have a lot of concerns about. They kind of complain it to me in regards to the density wise. I believe adjacent on the west side, these PUDs, I believe they are 2 stories, and I believe the current.
Councilmember, I believe
Yes.
that's the next public
Is
hearing
that the
item
next?
for,
Where am I at?
this is the inclusionary zoning, public
Okay.
9A, I believe.
Oh, duh. Sorry, my bad. My apologies.
Okay, well, I have some questions here. The executive summary on page 1, it says that we clearly there have been problems with what do I want to say, a really low return for developers. And they will never, ever take a look at building anything in our city if we have that really high in lieu fee. How are Claremont and Pasadena dealing with this?
So the pro forma analysis that was utilized basically took an existing development. They utilized Esperanza at Duarte Station, kind of assuming similar characteristics of that development, and calculated the average rate of return within our city. And based on that rate of return, if you were to also incorporate an inclusionary housing fee to that, it lowers the rate of return. I want to say the rate of return is maybe a few tenths of a percentage lower than the average. So I don't want to make it seem as if it's a significant reduction, but obviously when you're doing a pro forma and trying to determine the net, revenue that you can make, those percentages or tenths of a percentage make a difference.
I'm curious, what is the rate of return for that? Typical.
I would have to.
What
pull up-
FAR are we talking about, by the way?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the
What
question?
FAR are we talking about? Is it as high as like down there by the TOD? I don't think so.
If you can give me one moment, I can pull up the study. But in answer, Mayor, to your question, the difference between kind of Pasadena and Claremont
Sure.
cities
What's
that,
their rate return? Right.
I'm sorry,
What's their rate return?
in Claremont?
Yeah, Claremont, Pasadena. I just want to get a better bearing. Why is it that?
Okay, well, here, I found something here when I was reading. It says the fourth quarter of 2019 was 4.6%, and the pro forma analysis shows a 4.32%, but falls to 4.30% if in lieu fees are included.
So 4.23% of what? I mean, if it is 4.23%.
Rate of return.
No one's going to go ahead and do that. There's no way. No one's going to go ahead and do development with a 4.32% return. That's not even accurate. It would be absurd for me to go ahead and put and leverage so much money.
Well, and of course, that's what we're saying
Yeah.
is if we do this, which then begged the other question, hold on. My question was, so it appears that more cities are not using the inclusionary housing in lieu fees, and they are competing for those state monies and grants and whatever. Does this make it less likely that we're going to qualify for these dollars?
Okay, I want to try and answer all of your questions. So
Okay.
going back to the initial question, so in the feasibility study, this was conducted, by the way, in June 2020. They identified at that time, the fourth quarter of 2019, the average rate of return on a multifamily project in LA County was 4.6. The pro forma showed that the average rate of return in Duarte on a similar multifamily residential development was 4.32.
So my question is, I'm not sure if this is just my pure opinion, right? If I'm your financial advisor, I would say might as well just put it in a mutual fund. I can totally beat that 4.7%. It just doesn't make sense for me to go ahead and do so much risk and get a 4.7% back. There's something I'm not getting.
So I understand what you're saying. So this analysis was done as part of our housing element, and Harrison Associates did the analysis. There's the numbers, and then there's the discussions that I've had with developers, which maybe not the numbers. And here's what it basically is that, let me give you an example. I talked to the developer that developed and this is when we decided to do this study, basically. And after there was the pause in collecting the inclusionary requirements. So this is probably like 2018, 2019. We're having a discussion about the whole Woodward deal and what was going on down that project. And the discussion basically is that that project was at the max of its margin at the time. And basically additional costs would have made a situation where that project wouldn't have been buildable if there was an extra cost. There's some advantages that Duarte had compared to some of the area cities. That land, even though it was industrial land, was more affordable than some of the other cities that had high development costs, and we have limited development costs, which is a positive. But I will tell you that I think that the real message is that the type of development we've seen since we stopped collecting those funds, we've seen a significant amount of development in the community, which is very positive.
But in addition to that, I believe it was mentioned in the report, is that HCD, the state HCD, it basically went along with what we agreed to in the housing element, and we agreed to removing this ordinance from the city code. So I think that alone, I think that shows that it's a situation that's not, they don't feel is going to reduce the developability in the community. Now, I understand what you're saying about the margin. I do think that was specifically analyzing the development of rental property.
Right.
I think
At that certain time.
margin on ownership property is going to be higher, but I think the relationship probably is the same. Obviously, if there's additional development costs, it's harder to develop.
I get that. I was just thinking 4.7%. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
It'd be nice to be more if you're the developer.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be at 40 something at least.
Okay. Question answered, Sam?
Yeah.
I know, it's miserable.
So with regard to your question related to Pasadena and Claremont, kind of the difference with that is with those cities that do have inclusionary housing ordinances, those are cities that are perhaps can achieve higher rents just because they're maybe more popular places where people want to live. So because they can provide higher rents, the impact of an inclusionary housing ordinance and any in lieu fees or fees incurred through the development of inclusionary housing units is not as significant in a city where maybe rents can't be charged as much and can't make up for that difference.
I'm just seeking for a better clarifications. Santa Domingo, these are not apartments, right? These are going to be condos, going to be sold.
Yep, we're not on that right now.
Oh gosh, where am I at? I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay, Sam. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm
I know
sorry.
you really want to get to it.
Okay.
But I actually have another couple questions on this.
All right.
First of all, I want to just congratulate our community development department. They got their housing element passed by HCD, one of only 6 in the SCAG region of 191 cities. So I just want to say congratulations. Now, all that being said, I'm sorry? Oh, does this make us more attractive for state money because we have this already in the, going down the line?
Well, there are various kind of state funding mechanisms. One of them is like the SB2 planning grants, the LEAP grants, which the city has applied for, and we did receive those funds. I think some of the other funding mechanisms are more directed to the developers and not so much to the city. But obviously having a housing element that's been certified and is in compliance, that in and of itself kind of gives the city credits and points towards receiving grant monies through the state.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about this one.
All right. Do we have any other questions or?
No.
I have
My bad.
questions.
Yeah, go
There are
ahead.
A couple comments. So yeah, on the COG call, we were only one of 2 that had gotten approved. And so that's really great. So congratulations. I think that from discussions that I've had with Craig in development, there are other options for being able to increase affordability and still allow us to be competitive for developers. So I think that's right. Craig, can you give me a nod on that? Okay. Because that's something that I keep pushing him on and driving him crazy on. So for that reason, I want us to be competitive since our housing element was approved pretty aggressively. Then I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Sorry, that was just a presentation. We still need to open the public hearing, take public comment, close the public hearing and go from there.
Okay, do we have anyone that would like to speak? Have we gotten any notices?
We have not received any public comment via email or written.
Okay, is there anyone here that would like to speak under this item, which is the inclusionary housing? Okay, now we can go ahead and close the public hearing and now we'll take a motion.
For the reasons I mentioned, to be competitive since we've already had it approved by the state. And we are working on affordable housing in other ways. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the inclusionary housing bill. The municipal code amendment 22-02. All right, do we have any objection?
May I just clarify the motion for the record? So it's a motion to introduce ordinance number 908, repealing chapter 19.30 inclusionary housing and modifying chapter 19.10 residential zones and chapter 19.160 definitions within Title 19 Development Code of the City of Duarte Municipal Code. And this is Municipal Code Amendment 22-02.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't think we need a roll call unless someone would like it. Okay, no objections? Okay, so ordered. All right, now we are at Sam. Now we're at item 9B.
Yeah, I do apologize, Mayor. I'm
That's okay.
totally off my game today.
No, you're not off your game. Okay, 9B, this is the site plan and design review of, oh, wait a minute. I think I have someone that would like to speak on this. Okay, this is 9B. This also will be a public hearing. So let's go ahead. We've got Nick there. Okay. I tell you what, Sharon, what we're going to do is we'll let Nick talk about it, and then maybe you can come up, we'll open the public hearing, and then you can come up and talk at that point. Okay, good. I think some of your questions may be answered. Okay, maybe they won't be.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The applicant is proposing to prepare the site for development by demolishing the 8 existing structures and all the vegetation with the exception of the existing mature oak tree at the street frontage, which will remain. A total of 20 units will be constructed on the property using R4 development standards. The condos will be 3 stories tall with direct access to a 2-car garage on the ground floor and 2 floors of living space above. There'll be 7 plan types that range from approximately 1,600 square feet in size with 2 bedrooms and 3 baths to approximately 1,900 square feet with 4 bedrooms and 3 1/2 baths. Units will be dispersed among 6 structures in total with attached units in clusters of 3 and 4. To allow consideration and processing of the proposed residential project, the following entitlements are required. First is the subdivision application for the approval of the tentative tract map. The tentative tract map is necessary to establish development of the residential condominiums. Second is the plan development permit, which allows customized development standards that will provide optimal and efficient use of the land. The project does not meet the required amount of private open space required by the Duarte Development Code and is seeking approval of this entitlement by providing other project enhancements such as wider, more decorative driveways and greater amount of common open space than is required. The third entitlement is the site plan and design review. The site plan and design review addresses the architectural style and compatibility of the project and the improvements to the property, the overall style and aesthetics of the residential structures and other site improvements are analyzed to ensure that the project meets the specific plan and the design standards of the Duarte Development Code. These entitlements are being processed concurrently and are analyzed in the staff report. Collectively, all the entitlements must receive approval from the City Council for the proposed residential condominium development. If the subdivision entitlement is not approved, however, the site plan and design review and plan development permit still could be approved, which would change the project from a condominium development to an apartment development. Now I'll discuss the entitlements specifically. First off is the tentative tract map. And the tentative tract map proposes to subdivide the existing parcel for residential purposes. The applicant has designed the project to meet the requirements of the fire, sanitation, and other utility companies and agencies. The primary drive aisle meets the city requirements for circulation and meets the fire department's requirements for emergency access. As part of the tentative trap map approval, the applicant will be required to underground existing utilities in the right of way, construct a new driveway approach on San Domingo Avenue, and replace the sidewalk, curb, and gutter, and plant new trees along San Domingo Avenue. The tentative trap map is critical to the components of the overall project by allowing the ability of the property to be divided into saleable parcels with the provisions for private property maintenance responsibilities, formation of an HOA, and the establishment of CCNRs. The tentative track map will also ensure the necessary offsite improvements are completed and adequate for the development. The plan development permit is the next one. The plan development permit allows for customized development standards for projects where flexibility such standards can produce efficient use of the land, excellence of design, and provide for enhanced amenities. The proposed project includes a request for flexibility related to required private open space. Per the Duarte Development Code, a minimum of 200 square feet of private open space is required for each unit. With 20 units proposed, a minimum of 4,000 square feet of private open space is required for the project. A total of 3,572 square feet of private open space is provided through the use of private yards and balconies, but that amount is 428 square feet short of the required minimum. Private open space, the private open space requirement may be transferred to common open space if a PDP is approved, and such open space provides creative common spaces, including but not limited to gardening areas, sunning areas, and outdoor seating. The project has 5,454 square feet of common open space, which exceeds the 4,000 square feet required by the community development standards. Through the use of the PDP, the deficit in private open space can be accommodated by the surplus in common open space. To meet the intent of the PDP, amenities have been incorporated to address the shortcomings in the common open space. The main upgrade comes in the form of the improved drive aisles off the main drive aisle. The width of these aisles has been increased 30 feet, and the pavement for the drive aisles have been upgraded to decorative pavers to give a courtyard feel for these drive areas. Staff recommends approval for the request of open space deviation through the PDP process. The PDP will help gain optimal use of the property by providing an appropriate density that is proportionate and a proportionate amount of open space. Next is the site plan design review. This project is designed at a height of 35 feet and 3 stories tall. Whereas the code allows for a height of 50 feet and 4 stories. In terms of density, 20 units were proposed where 28 are allowed. In regards to design, the project is well designed and incorporates a variety of details that create a visual appeal along San Domingo Avenue. The project is designed using Spanish architectural style, and each structure includes a variety of architectural features to emphasize the style. A color and material palette that includes finely textured white and tan cement plaster are applied throughout the exterior and will include complementary brown and brick accent colors. All windows will be recessed, depth ranging from 2 to 12 inches throughout the structure, depending on the window type, style, and location. The project also includes a variety of landscape and open space improvements, new fences and walls, among others. An extensive landscape palette will be incorporated throughout the property. The palette will include a variety of drought-tolerant shrubs and ground cover. The existing mature oak along San Domingo Avenue will be retained. The existing new 6-foot high slumstone block walls will be constructed along the north, west, and south property lines, and retaining walls are necessary along these same property lines to allow the grade to be raised at the center of the property to allow for appropriate drainage of the lot. The retaining wall height will range from 1.33 to 3 feet, with the highest part of the wall in the center on the south part of the lot. Now, comments were received from the neighboring property owners when this project was presented to the Architectural Design Review Board and the Planning Commission, and these comments pertain to the building height, massing, and privacy. These issues were addressed by those bodies during those respective meetings and further addressed in the staff report. No comments were received for the city council meeting agenda item. The staff recommends approval of resolution 22-11 for the site plan design review, resolution 22-12 for the plan development permit, and resolution 22-13 for the subdivision application. Thank you, and that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Why don't we go ahead and open the public hearing now? And anyone that would like to come and speak on this item, notably we have Sharon. We have you signed up to speak, and then you don't have to have signed up to speak. So if you're here to speak on the housing project on Santo Domingo, just step forward, and there is a 3-minute time limit.
Okay, it would have been great if you left that one map up, because what it doesn't show is the HOA that's to the north of it.
Okay.
So my name is Sharon Sharp, and I'm the president of Greenfield Home HOO, and we're to the north of when that development's going to be. So the other map, it doesn't show any of the surrounding HOAs and residents around that structure. I attended the December meeting when the planning committee discussed this project, and along with the vice president, the HMO, we talked about our concerns, which is privacy, because the units that are going to be the units that have 3 levels are going to look into our property of our HMO. During that discussion, members suggested building some trees to give more privacy to our complex, but I can't tell if they've been added. And so I'm here just to make sure that those recommendations are added, because it's clear it's going to happen, but it shouldn't happen without accommodating our privacy now that we have a 3-story building right on our property line.
And your
So we're on
buildings-
Santo Domingo, and we're to the north.
Right. No, I know that. I've got the map here in front of me. Your places are 2 stories?
Yes, and the places on Orange Street who also attended the planning meeting are 2-story.
Okay, and 2 stories, you've been looking down at 1 stories for all this time.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You're 2 stories, right?
We're
You're
2
stories, but the houses that are there, the 8 of them, they are 1 story. And is that right? That are being destroyed?
Oh, yes, they're 1 story. Yes. The
Oh,
ones
okay.
that are currently there
All
are
right,
1
so
story.
I guess my question is, you've been looking down on them all this time.
We have been, the way their property is not facing, it's not facing in the same way that this new property will. But yes, there's two houses that are right on the fence. So one of them would be looking in the front of that complex, and you're right, the one in the back could be looking over them.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And so I'm just asking that the recommendations that were discussed in the planning meeting about building some trees for privacy is added to the plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we just so you're aware, we do have the applicant here tonight as well, who I believe may want to make a statement, but
Okay, why
just
don't we?
so you're aware.
All right, let's see if we have other people that would like to speak in the public hearing, then we'll have Mr. Lee come up.
Hi, my name is Eunice Figueres. I live in the HOA in south of this development. We have the same concerns about privacy. To your point, have we been able to look down on the 1 stories? We have not. The way it's situated, we can't see into their windows. Their properties are close enough to the wall that it affords them privacy. Our biggest concern as our development is that the way it is designed, the 3rd story can look into our kitchen windows, our living room windows, and our backyards. There are people with young children who are in the back. We did discuss the idea of planting trees, and we're not sure where that went. We're not sure where any discussions have gone since we last met with them. My preference is that the development be in line with the surrounding developments, meaning 2 stories, maybe 2.5. The 3.5 stories or 3 stories and 3 feet is substantially bigger than everyone else. It'll kind of stick up on the block and it'll be fundamentally different from everything surrounding it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Sam?
Thank you, Mayor. Is it possible for us to see some kind of elevations from the north side and also from the west side? Do we have any elevations instead of having the 2D perspective?
And maybe can you let us know about the trees that she's mentioning, whatever happened with that?
Sure. The architectural plans are included in your in one of the attachments. So that would be a place where you could find the elevations.
Sorry, that's the only piece that I left it at home.
And in regards to trees, right, so that was, privacy was an issue that came up before, and trees were discussed as a possible alternative. However, that was not incorporated into the final approval for either the Architectural Review Board or the Planning Commission. So we could add it if it meets the wishes of the City Council.
Okay. Yes, Tony.
Good afternoon, sir. If the neighbors came and attended your meeting and had obviously a request for privacy, why wouldn't that at least be addressed to them, you know, to be a good neighbor? Is there a reason why the trees wasn't added to the original plans?
We discussed privacy as a whole. We talked about a host of issues, as we talked about window placement, height, and so forth, in comparison. It was brought up as an option, and it was just not it's not where we landed on and the decision to make it. It's easily possible to substitute the hedges that are proposed along the south with another hedge type that will grow taller. That's an easier fix. Along the north, on the north, it's maybe not easy to see through the plans provided, but there is a drive aisle predominantly along their southern property line. And they do have 2 units on the ends that don't have that benefit. And that might be a place where we could provide trees if we have the common open space areas. But as you see from, if you refer to the architectural plans, the walkway goes right up against the wall there. So we wouldn't, for the most part, we couldn't put large trees or even large hedges along that wall, the northerly wall.
Okay.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Can we set back a little bit then?
This development is awfully tight.
It's pretty optimized.
It is, and just to make the parking work, it took a lot of shifting and getting it to this point. But the project architect is here, and he can address that further.
Is he the architect?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a couple more questions. Either Jody or Zeidel.
I was just gonna ask for the architect to speak and see what he might recommend or suggest, and that while he does that, the city and the council can at least give some direction or assistance for the residents neighboring this particular development.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Jimmy Lee. It's nice to in person have a meeting after these 2 years. Okay, first, yes, in the last planning commission, we do discuss about the privacy regarding the north neighbor and south neighbors. In the meeting, we finally I explained that there's a room, no problem, we can plant some hedges or some like even cypress, Italian cypress, to provide the privacy for the abutting neighbors. If you see, there's in the exhibit, you can see all the side elevation for those townhome building. On the third floor, mostly to the south neighbor, the building is the side elevation. On the third floor, it's utility. Most of the the 3 windows are utility room windows. This high and narrow, I think they will not affect too much for the neighbors' privacy. And in addition, for the zoning regulation requirement in this R4 zone, we need to have minimum 5-foot setback. To the south of the property, we have 12 feet setback. The building actually setback more than the zoning require. I think it's also help for the privacy for the neighbors. To the north, we also noticed that, yes, again, first, the setback requires 5 foot, and we have 8-foot setback to the north neighbor. And those most of the building facing is the driveway to the north community. And I understand the 2 building abutting our development, those are probably 2 of the units. They actually have opening facing those houses. And we do have room there also to plant hedges and or cypress. We will have, last time in the planning commission, we agreed that it would be the right into the conditions of approval that the planning department will approve the final landscape plan to make sure that will those plans will be planned on the final drawings. So make sure to protect the privacy of the neighbors.
Okay, Jody, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I think I would like to know more about what it would take to have the hedges and trees for the residents for privacy, and also because greenery is really good for our city anyway. So I'd like to know more about that and how we can try and get that if we can. Yeah, if we can. I don't know all the information, I guess is what I'm saying.
To the south of the development, we have the landscape plan. I think it's in the exhibit. There's a 2-foot planter all the way along the south property line. So there's no problem to plant the hedges and landscaping. Yeah. To the north, for those I think especially the neighbor's concern is the unit number 1 and unit number 8. So there has a room also in front of the unit to plant the hedges or cypress. So am I answering?
So that would be fairly easy then? I mean, it wouldn't cost a lot more. You could do it fairly easily.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So we, the developer also agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got just two more questions really
Sure.
quick. I'm just curious. I see a lot of developments down in Irvine that they actually have some playing, playgrounds, small playgrounds for the community and so on. Can we incorporate something like that? I think it will promote a lot more kids to thrive in our city.
The playground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there such?
Yeah, we have like 4, probably we call it common open space.
Right.
You can see on plan A002, my landscape architect design, there's like a walking trail in the rear open space. In the central space, they have seating area. Yeah. So, but first, I think I understand this is not the 20 units, not a huge community. Yeah, but we also provide enough open space for the resident here to enjoy. They collect. So in the central, there's
Yeah, I totally get it. You're trying
yes,
to
it's
maximize
not
your
just
ROI,
another
right? This is where you maximize your
sandpit or
ROI.
slide. Yes,
I'm just
not-
curious.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if there's a way to incorporate something like that, I think it would be more advantageous for the future residents, to come in. I'm just, that's, I see it in my development. I'm like, we're missing something, right? Because I live in a PUD development,
Mhm.
these kind of areas too. So I'm just thinking.
Well, I understand. Usually it's more in a large community, a single family house community, it's more realistic to have that large scale of.
Not so.
Well,
Nah,
Mr. Lee, I
Yeah.
don't want to question your development and your drawing and if you really put that in consideration, do you really have to have 20 units, right? So, but you have 20 units here and this is what your drawing is. We're just really asking you to accommodate your neighbors, to be a friendly neighbor and add these trees and for privacy, because really privacy is a big issue for everybody, even for your new homeowners that move into your development, privacy will be a big issue as well. Even though they're 3 stories high and their neighbors are 2 stories high, there's going to be a form of privacy that's going to be a concern. I think that if you do your due diligence to add these trees to accommodate the issues and the concerns that the neighbors have, I think I would have no problem with it. But I definitely need 100% guarantee that you will do something about that to accommodate it.
I concur with Councilman Trung, but I think my question is a little bit different. I'm just seeking, I agree, we need the privacies. I'm just seeking to see if there's any kind of creative ways to do some kind of playgrounds and so on. And that's my first question. My second question is, I'm just curious and understanding, if you go to Arcadia, if you go to different places, or if you just go right next door to Westminster, or even right down south, they have gates. How come this development does not have gates?
Well, again, when we do the design, the first before the planning commission, I do present this a design to LA County Fire Department, because when the project being approved, we also need the fire department's approve.
Right.
They need for fire truck turnaround, they need a larger space. I mean, we need to we don't have that setback, the front, to accommodate the turnaround, to place the gate.
Place the gate. I see.
Yeah, and also for fire department's point of view, they prefer this, without a gate. So first, the question is to answer, the main concern is we don't have that space for the turnaround.
Well,
to
it
place the
depends on
gate.
how you maximize it, and you're maximizing. I'm just wondering, that's all.
Okay. So
Mayor, if I may, just for clarification purposes, the landscape and hardscape plan, because there has been a lot of discussion about privacy, is already, as the applicant mentioned, part of the conditions of approval.
Yes.
And that staff, so that landscape and hardscape plan will require separate review by staff to ensure, and approval to ensure compliance with the landscape guidelines of the Duarte Development Code. And if you so wish, you may also give staff authority to approve it with the idea that they decide it's adequately addressing the privacy concerns that have been brought up to the extent, that possible with the, the limitations of the development. But that is in the part of the recommendations.
Okay.
So do we just need to make a motion to that effect, Ty?
So when, whatever motion you choose, for example, if you do choose to approve and approve the resolutions, you can also caveat it with that approval of the landscape and hardscape plan, that it also addresses the privacy concerns to the approval of the director planning.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
So you have to actually close the public hearing.
Right, let's do that first.
But I believe there are more.
Got Minaj right there. By the way, he's the one who built mine.
And
Yes,
have
I am
George-
responsible for Mr. Kang being up there.
Yes,
Good
you
evening
are.
to the council, good evening to the staff. I just wanted to address, Mr. Kang brought up a good point. In the past, because of past experience, I know the city is a little hesitant about privacy, meaning gates, closed communities. I don't know if that's the issue still, but just to address your issue, Mr. Kang, it's a matter of liability also. And I say this, I don't know them, but I'm saying it from my perspective, my personal. In fact, I have a project, another city, we address the same issues you did, answer the same questions you did. And liability is a big thing, but I'm just mentioning that because I know we, in this beautiful community of ours, we're not, what's the word, positive about gated communities. So imagine if this was a gated community, I think things would be a little different. Just a point of
It will look very nice.
yeah, just a point. Thank you.
Like somewhere that Nick used to be at.
Okay. Do we have any other people from the public that would like to speak? All right, then we will close the public hearing. And now we'll go ahead and take a motion.
We'll take the motion that Ty explained. I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
So for clarification, it's a motion to approve resolution 22-11 for the SPDR 19-05, approve resolution 22-12 for PDP 19-01, and resolution 22-13 for subdivision 20-01, all with the caveat that for approval of the landscape and hardscape plan, that the Director of Community Development also take into account the privacy concerns with the landscaping, and he can approve it to the extent that he believes addresses those concerns.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion here, and I have a question for Mr. Lee. Approximately what are your homeowners association fees going to be? What do you anticipate them being?
Well, I would say like a 250.
250 a
That's
month?
my best guess. Yeah.
Okay.
And what's the average, you think? I mean, you're the architect, but I'm
Average.
average cost for that two bedroom.
You mean selling
Yeah,
price?
to sell it, right, the unit.
Selling price.
I know you don't know, but
Yeah.
maybe I know that.
700.
700, okay.
And will the HOA fee be based on the size of the unit or no? It'll just be standardized?
Well, it will be very slightly different from the size of the unit.
I see.
Yeah, but mainly the HOA fees to maintain the common space.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right. Yeah, Tony.
I'm sorry, for my question is, if there's 2 stories, why were they permitted to have a 3-story in that neighborhood? Is there an answer for that?
Thank you. The zoning allows for actually 4 stories and 50 feet. And the developers coming in at 35 feet and 3 stories. So it's less than what the zoning allows for. The existing developments were built under a different zone. The zoning now is a specific plan to the Duarte Town Center specific plan with that vision and the kind of upgraded vision with kind of newer standards as well.
And is that a R4 or R3?
It's implemented using the R4 standards, but the zoning is the Duarte Town Center specific plan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, then, and we have no objections, then so ordered. All right. We are now at item, hold on, it's a business item, and 10A, I believe, sorry. My thing was dying on me. Okay, so we are now at item 10B because 10A was pulled for more information. So we are at 10B, and this is a request from Kid Fit Preschool Health and Fitness Organization for the City of Duarte to co-sponsor the Kid Fit Family Run 5K on Saturday, May 21st, 2022. Go for it.
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. This is staff's coming back after direction last time at the last City Council meeting. Staff was asked to go back to the Parks and Rec Commission and gather some feedback with regards to the Kid Fit Family Fun Run. Based off of, during that meeting, we had Michelle join the commission. She ran through the intent of the fundraiser, all of the logistics and so forth. And basically at the end of it, the commission had some great questions as to the timeframe for the planning process, kind of the negotiation or the arrangement with the school district and seeking further clarification on that. They also asked with regards to the trail usage and kind of condensing down the event timeframe. And after some heavy discussion and so forth and careful consideration, the final recommendation by the commission stood as doing historically what the co-sponsorship has looked like here for the city, in that case being the $325. And then also a recommendation for the organization to consider merging the last 2 categories, which is the 1K and the Leisure K into one category to then condense the event time. At this point, that's all the commission had to share and or the feedback that they had for all of you. And I understand Michelle has a presentation. I'm not sure if you have any further questions for me, or if you'd like to invite Michelle up here and have her go through her 3 slides.
How long a presentation is it, Michelle? Yeah, that's fine. We're looking for information, so.
Thank you. Actually, I wanted to update you on 2 things because you had requested that we meet with the high school and to go to the Park and Rec meeting. So I wanted to update you on both of those things. and then clarify just some things that I think have not been clarified from the beginning. So first, let me just explain the high school meeting. We did meet with Russ Ernest, the assistant principal. He provided support for our event and indicated that he would like funding to go to the ASB. And they would in turn decide which groups or projects would receive that money depending on which students volunteered. And I would highly recommend that that's very transparent and public, so we know where money is going, should there be a large amount of money, hopefully. He set up some classroom times for us to come and announce to students to let them know more about it. He provided names and numbers of the elementary schools to contact, and we're in the process of contacting all of the elementary and middle schools to not only get them very familiar with what we're trying to do, but get them on board with the aspect of what they're going to be obtaining from this, as far as the children's getting the virtual program, and including the middle school children so that they can make murals to place along the trail and focus on motivating the runners and also be included. We will have a table at the Duarte High School Open House on April 14th and are in constant contact with the administration at the school. So everything on the school front looks well. As far as the Park and Rec meeting, as Manuel said, we discussed several things. One was parking. There's about 390 parking spaces between the two parking lots that we've already secured. And we have been also told that there is going to be another half of the parking lot at a third location. So there won't be any problem with congestion. We will have shuttles that take people from those places to the start and finish line. Something that was discussed, and it's been discussed a few times, I wanted to clarify, are the street closures and how it's going to impact the community. So if you would just go to the next slide. I don't know if you can see this very well, but the top half of the screen there is the route that we have. No, the route that we have is at the bottom. The top half is the route that Hayden had when they did this run for 10 years. And the route at the bottom, there's really only hard closures where people cannot get out, are the small street that's above Royal Oaks, the Royal Oaks North. And those both ends of that is closed, but those people can get out in other streets. So it's not like they're going to be obstructed. The Vineyard on the other end is the same thing. It's going to be closed, but the people there can get out in another way. The only street that's completely going to be intermittently closed is going to be Mountain, and that will be closed as runners go by. And when there's no runners going by, it will be open. So there'll be somebody there directing traffic. If you look at the other map, the top one, it shows the number of streets that were closed where people could not get out and there was no way to get around the race route. They also ran directly on the street and then halfway through merged up onto the trail. So our route is a little different in that we're not running on the street at all. So I wanted to clarify that in case that was anybody's concern about how it's going to impact the residents. It'll be very minimal impact on the residents. Okay, something else that we keep coming back to was the length of this. And what I wanted to, I didn't have time to go into last time. It's very difficult to change anything now because so much of the promotional material is out there. We've got 7,000 flyers and 4,000, well, between the postcards and there's flyers, there's 11,000 items out there right now that people are looking at and using to sign up. So at this point, being able to condense that would be really difficult to do because we've already got all the promotional materials out. And as far as saving any money on the security, any money that was saved would be spent on buying new materials. So I wanted to just let you know, though, when we started this planning, it was in October when COVID was really bad. And the timing company told us that those places that are doing 5Ks, they had to stagger the runners. So what that means is one person would go and then 10 seconds later, another, and then another. So you had to have a lot of time because we didn't want people running and breathing each other's air and running into each other. So we allowed for that in case the situation was still like that now. So we wanted to have a longer period of time for that reason. We also wanted a longer period of time so the runners could be spaced out more. We've already had feedback from the community of people who ran in the 5K before who said they did not like the way everybody was all bunched together, going two directions at the same time and crowded. So we felt this was a safer model all the way around, not just for COVID, but for other situations. So it would be a good experience. But having said that, we have been thinking about what can we do, and there are a couple of things that I wanted to suggest. One is that we did allow a lot of time for that last group to get back, 2 hours. And so if we cut that last group to 1 hour, we can save an hour worth of the security, and we can have those people come back. If they can't get back within an hour and it takes them an hour and a half, they would just miss part of the award ceremony at the end. So we're still in essence allowing them an hour and a half to get back, and we will have people along the course route in case they can't get back. So by doing that, we can save over $1,000. And then maybe next year we can make the categories tighter and more compact, depending on what we see happening this year. Also, another suggestion that I have, considering the fact that we are going to be there several more hours than the regular 5K, is that we were planning on incorporating some different activities for the families that were in the park, whether they were running or not. And so what I would suggest is that the Park and Rec department could get their Park and Rec instructors to come out and have sample demonstrations of the classes that they want people to sign up for. Because I know after looking at their materials that they've got things like hip hop and vocal classes and soccer, dance classes, martial arts, the tennis court, they could have some demonstration in there, even teach people what pickleball is. There's a lot of ways that the Park and Rec could actually incorporate their activities into like little sample classes for the public. And Manuel was saying that they're always looking for things that are low cost or free for the community. So this would be a way that if people were coming out as a family and maybe only one person was running, the rest of them could enjoy some fitness activities as well. And you're promoting your own Park and Rec classes, which once people start doing those from the instructor, chances are they're going to say, oh, when do you have your class? And they might be interested in actually signing up. So it's a great marketing opportunity for you. So those two things, cutting it by an hour and giving the city the opportunity to, display some of the Park and Rec classes, I think would be a really good idea. But whatever you choose to do, we will gladly accept and, do our best to make it a success. The cost of the security is a big one, but, we'll do what we can do. The last slide are some questions that I had, and I just wanted to, maybe you want to save those for the end, or you want me to ask them now? What do you prefer?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Michelle, finish it up.
I wasn't clear on the trash arrangement, because one time we talked about it and the city said we could probably take care of that. And then the next time we talked about it, it was put on that would be up to us. So I wasn't sure on the trash arrangement, who was arranging for that for as far as containers and pickup. Is the city able to get a news piece in the Duarte View? Now that I see when Adam was speaking about how it's primarily virtual, maybe that would be an opportunity. I know that the deadline is coming up on April 1st. As part of your sponsorship, would that be something that's doable?
And that would probably be something that you go directly to the chamber for.
Okay. And those who participated in the virtual 5K before, if there's a mailing list of those, would those people be able to be contacted by the Park and Rec department? If you decide to be sponsored, that you could let them know about this event, because those people that did the virtual 5K might be interested. We need information on the banner, Buena Vista, when it needs to be submitted, what size is optimal. The Royal Oaks parking building, in Royal Oaks Park, there's a building with the tables and chairs. I'm assuming that those would be available to us, but I wanted to confirm that. And that's where we would like to have the first aid station. So we'd like to go in and at least look at that ahead of time. Stage setup, we have someone who can get us a stage, but the people cannot set it up and pick it up the same day. So I don't know if it is possible to arrange to have it either delivered a day early or picked up a day late, but that's something I wanted to ask about. And if City Hall can be used for people who need to pick up medals after the race. If we don't have enough medals ordered for the race, then we have to order them afterwards and they would have to come and pick them up afterwards. And then the last thing is the course liability. There's a picture there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there are some lifts and holes in the trail that I'm concerned about. This particular one I tripped on 3 years ago, fell on both of my elbows and my knee. And I didn't get hurt, but that's still there. So I'm hoping that someone can go through the entire course and make sure that it's, safe enough that nobody's going to stick their foot in a hole and sprain their ankle or trip and fall. So those are my questions.
Okay, thank you. Manuel, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Can I ask a question really quick for Michelle?
Sure.
Since we last spoke, you were just starting on your registration and.
Right, we
do
just opened up the registration and I did some research on that actually. Unfortunately, they say, although people know about the event and they have the information and they know they're going to do it, that they don't actually go to do it until it's almost that time.
Okay.
And speaking to the competitive runners, same thing. They said, oh, we'll be there, but I haven't seen their registration yet. So it's hard to gauge. I'm going to have to guess, how many medals and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sam.
Caesar actually brought a really good point. How many people have signed up right now?
It's brand new. I mean, we just opened the registration site.
Oh, okay. So, and the deadline is going to be April 1st.
No, the deadline to get a medal.
A medal.
To be guaranteed a medal. So what we do is because with the shipping and all this stuff going on right now and where the medals are made, if we don't order them 6 weeks ahead of time, they wouldn't be here for the race. So obviously I'm going to have to guess because they're not going to be registered by the first.
Well, before the medals, I'm just trying to plan this out, right? And I mean, you're a great planner and I hope I am too. I'm just trying to guess how many runners.
I'm just gonna guess,
How many runners are you anticipating?
200 to 300.
Are we getting 200 or 300?
Well, we're gonna see. I mean,
When is the deadline?
the race is May 21st.
Mm.
So we've got 2 full months and less than 10% of all runners will register ahead of time.
With all due respect, Michelle, I know you do this a lot, but I have a group of friends who do run marathons and have marathons, and they actually have to prepare themselves for these runs. I know 5K isn't a huge run, so you might talk about the preparation time. You probably don't need that much time, but they do prepare themselves for these type of runs, specifically if they run marathons. So I would think that the registration piece is preparing themselves for the marathon. So I think again, like I said, I don't plan events like this for a living, but I do know a lot of people who run marathons and they register for the marathon before they even train for the marathon. So that I just want to kind of put that out there.
I think that's more for a marathon.
Right. The 5K run is a short run, like I said, where it's more family involved. But there's preparation when it comes to these. I don't just wake up in the morning, put my shoes on and say, hey, I'm gonna go run a 5K. Right. So
but what I'm saying is, yes, they're preparing for it, but they don't go in and actually sign up and pay their money.
isn't that part of preparation? To
Uh,
sign up for something that you're gonna participate in?
Well, yes, but I'm just saying, I'm just telling
Right,
you
right.
the information I've collected.
Right.
That's
Okay.
from the runners that I've talked to, the clubs. That's what they've told me.
Thank you.
I'm just concerned. I mean, for your sake, is there an exit strategy on this?
Is there an exit strategy?
Right? Are you going all in?
I'm all in.
But
You
what
know,
if no one, I mean, a few people shows up, what are we gonna do?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we are marketing really heavily right now. I mean, we've got contests going on. We've got.
Are they receptive?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I hope you guys are getting a team together because Monrovia is right now.
So to piggyback off that comment, Councilmember, I'm looking at this list of questions that you have. it seems like Duarte's throwing this event
But why is that?
because you're asking us who's going to pick up the trash. You're asking us who's going to fill these potholes and cracks. You are asking us if we can get Duarte View to advertise. You're asking us if we can send emails to our previous 5K runners. This sounds like an event that Duarte is running. This doesn't sound like a privately ran 5K event. You are asking for us to essentially partner with you, right? But if this event was thought of back in October of 2021, I believe, and having it be where it is now, 2 months prior to the event from actually happening, not being able to get the stage setup information, not being able to get the runners to register, I'm going to be perfectly honest, and this is my personal opinion. I can't move forward with voting yes on this or partnering with you because I don't see that everything is in line. And I don't see that there is a plan B, so to speak, or, you know, everything has is there bumps down the road. I don't see that there a plan A, a plan B, or a plan C is set. I think you have one plan and you're going right straight head first into that plan, which I commend you for that. Again, I would never do something like this. But when I'm reading these questions, it really sounds like you're kind of asking Duarte, the city, to help sponsor you and partner with you, but then you're kind of insinuating that we already are. Specifically, being on Nextdoor and seeing the marketing and advertisement, you have done it very, very much as of late. But I think that the choice of words and language when you're marketing this on Nextdoor is insinuating that Duarte has something to do with this. There is where I have the issue with, because we haven't voted on this yet.
Where have I said that?
Nextdoor, Duarte 5K Kid Fit Marathon or a 5K run. It's in the city of Duarte. I agree with that. But I think the choice of crafting that language could have been a little bit better instead of putting Duarte in front of the Kid Fit run, right?
Okay.
So
By the way,
as my honest opinion, my personal opinion, and seeing these lists of questions, it
well, these list of questions are things you don't have to agree to any of them. I just was putting them out there in case that you were going to agree to sponsor at the level of whatever you talked about last time. These were just questions that I had if you were going to move forward with that. If you're not, and you don't want to do any of them, then, you know, you don't want to do any of them. But, you know, I am worried about the last one with the liability for sure.
So with that question, can I bring up Manuel? You seem very anxious to give us some information.
Yes, I always want to make sure that I'm getting you all of the information. I will go back and just bring to Michelle's attention when we met back in October. One of the first things that I mentioned to her was that hosting an official run on the trail was not ideal based on the current condition of the trail. We are in the process of trying to secure some grant funds to do the necessary work there. But that was one of the things I know I recall that, and I'm sure you know that as well, that was staff's recommendation. Alternative location, because it's specifically hosting it on the trail, not in the city's best interest.
I just don't remember that. I'm sorry. Maybe you said it, but I don't remember that. And I'm not sure that fixing a crack like that is going to be a big deal. You know?
It's a big liability deal, insurance issue. It's a deal, big deal.
And I'm sure Manuel and Craig will both tell you, I'm always on them about that bike trail, whether it's we write a grant for it, whether we pay for it with ARPA funds, because it truly is a jewel in our crown, and it has deteriorated over the years. And it is just very difficult to come up with the kind of money that we need to do it right.
Right. And I see patches, you know, here and there that separate like the next year, you know, so I know, I'm well aware of the trail. I'm on it every day. Well, you know what, it's your guys' call. If you don't want to be behind it, I understand. I don't know If you want me to call the whole thing off, then I'm gonna eat $3,000-4,000. I mean, I wanted to do this for the community. I wanted to do it to bring the community together, the other cities together, people together, especially in a time when so many people can't stand each other. And yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I've made mistakes and, I was hoping to learn from them. I've been in front of you guys like 3, 4, 5 times and asked for whatever support you can garner. And I don't really know where you stand, because the last time when I left, I thought, okay, you were at least willing to give us the minimum of your help with the use of your logo and whatever funds that you wanted to cover as far as city fees. Now I'm hearing something different. So I don't know. You guys have to enlighten me.
We need to play it straight with you, Michelle. I get it. I get it. Just a couple quick questions I have. I think we've talked about Monrovia's, and you said it's the Falls to the Fountain Run. Is that a city event?
Yeah, I don't think they're having it this year.
Well, they aren't? Okay. And let's see. Okay, and you're looking at anything that is made above and beyond say that you raise $3,000 above and beyond the expenses. What percentage of that is it, and is it a percentage that would go to ASB?
Half.
Half, okay, so 50%. Okay, and that's once we take out all the expenses. And the other half then would go to your foundation.
Right, which would fund the lower grade levels with the virtual programming and staff development workshops and such.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Saying that there's that $3,000 and we get 50% to ASB, we talked about bringing DART volunteers, right? So what percentage of that would go to the DART volunteers? Just.
They're volunteers.
But they're also from the high school, so wouldn't they benefit from the 5K?
Is DART the high school or is that through our public safety department?
Public safety.
Yeah, but most of them are high school students.
High school students.
But I think if it goes to ASB, ASB would decide
have
where
to
the
give-
money would go.
Okay.
Right, ASB would have to decide.
I think I was under the understanding that last time we voted on supporting the 325 sponsorship. Didn't we pass that already?
No, that was
No,
pending
we-
insurance, right?
Oh, it was, okay, got it.
No,
And that leads me to our Dr. Jordan, City Manager. Can I ask you for some, what was it, the staff's recommendation that happened last Tuesday and what your thoughts are on this? Yeah.
You're supposed to say at that point, after you ask that question, not to put you on the spot. So
Not to put you on the spot,
I'll ask it for you.
Well, to put you on the spot.
That's right. Well, I think where this event has come, it looks like it could be fantastic. I think it would have benefited early on from a lot more interaction between Kid Fit and the city. So we wouldn't see ourselves where we are right now, 2 months out, worried about bumps on a trail that may be dangerous, that we may have said, perhaps this isn't the best place to hold it to begin with. The city has expressed some discomfort with some of the ways it's been marketed. And the use of our logo before we said that could be done. The showing up of a contest where the council members were named. We're going to start a team that we had never heard about. So given what we had talked about with $325, it's such a small amount, and it seems as if Kid Fit has some strong ideas about how they want to actually conduct the event. I don't think, as a staff recommendation at this point, I can recommend the city council to be a co-sponsor of the event. Now, whether you want to permit it or not is a different issue. But I don't see enough integration between what the city has done up to now and what we're asking for. And I just don't know it'd be worth KidFit's time to try and pursue that further if we're really just talking about $325 of support. So that's where I am, Councilmember Trong.
I thought the
Thank you,
support
sir.
was in terms of not just the 325, but in terms of the use of your logo as a sponsor and things like that.
Well, that is correct. We want to make sure, however, that we're comfortable with the event that we're using our logo for as a sponsor. So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out right now.
So are you saying there is no way to make you comfortable with the event the way it is?
Ma'am, I'm not saying anything. I'm listening to the council and trying to answer that question.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan.
May I also just I would just also like to remind the council that last time there was no approval. It was just a request that the item go to the commission to kind of hash out some of the details and get some recommendations back. Moreover, I'd like to reiterate that I made a very strong recommendation that if the co-sponsorship does happen or this event is permitted outside of the co-sponsorship, that there be an indemnification agreement signed by KidFit, and that would ensure that anything that happens, for example, on the trail, that it would be the liability of KidFit. Moreover, with these types of events, I've run 5Ks, half marathons, people who sign up and register sign liability waivers also as a part of registration. So those are some of the recommendations I would make. And part of that came out of the use of a city logo. Obviously, if someone decides, I'm going to sue because whatever happens at the event, they would, of course, try to sue the city also, even if we had nothing to do with the planning process or holding the event, hence the liability or the indemnification agreement. I'm not making a comment as to the recommendation. I'm just saying that whatever you choose to do, if you do approve whatever route you take, that such an indemnification agreement be, signed to the approval of the city attorney's office.
And if I may, Mayor, I
go ahead.
Agree with our city attorney. I think just the indemnification part, there's going to be so much just the legal process, even though. I mean, you're going to go ahead and sign it. We need to go ahead and clear it because we need to making sure that this is bulletproof. I would strongly encourage that. And that's just one part of it. I mean, just look at that list. And I totally agree with you, Michelle. I think at the last council meeting, I told you, I'll match you, right? If you're able to go ahead and raise 1,000, I'll get you 1,000, right? Me personally, because I really understand what you want to do and it's going to be great for the community and all, but I think we're missing one big part is you're not seeking all the community stakeholders to make this happen. It just seems like I said earlier, it's more the cart before the horse. This is just my opinion.
I'm not seeking what?
You didn't seek the especially the city stakeholders earlier. I know you're doing this in good faith, and I know how
I think part of the problem.
If I may finish.
Okay.
So I do apologize. I know you have been talking to me once before and talked to Margaret about this, but that was it. I didn't know what was going on, and I know you're flying, which that's your personality. I respect that. I think the other stakeholders were kind of missing, and now that we're 2 months, prior to, and we don't have many, not even maybe you or maybe someone else might sign up to run. I would imagine if this is a business, I'm running into a lot of risks. And in addition to that, this is what I'm seeing is you're trying to put a lot of the infrastructure operation expenses, or what we call the cap act, to the city and say, you guys have to go ahead and deal with this. That's what my feeling is. I just wish we were probably doing this earlier together to make this happen. You
Well, a
know,
suggestion I have is that when we first started talking and planning this, and we consulted with the sisters at the Hayden 5K, and we consulted with the city, and they said the first thing you have to do is get a special event permit. That was what we were told. The first thing you need to do is get a special event permit.
understood,
And when you get that, you have to have all these things or you can't submit it.
understood, but special event permit under the assumption that you're gonna go ahead and take care of everything, right? But you're coming back and say, city, you gotta go ahead and do everything else for me. And by the way, you gotta go ahead and give me the money, right? And that part, city doesn't run this way. I mean, if it is my company, yeah, maybe I can orchestrate this myself. But we're working with, a city, a local government that we need everyone's buy-ins to make this happen.
Well, if the city doesn't want to take part in any way, I'll have to deal with it.
That's not true. I mean, I don't think we should say it that way. We want to. I mean, I wholeheartedly want to go ahead and help you.
Go ahead, Zeidel.
I don't doubt that this event could become a successful one. There's two things. Really, it feels like we're kind of cramming to get something done that really takes, quite frankly, several months to plan. The second was, do you have a committee of people? How many and all, I mean, not all, but some from Duarte?
Yeah, we have a committee from Duarte, Monrovia, Arcadia. We have a committee of about 12 people, and then we have about 50 volunteers right now. And that's not including the high school at all.
So I guess the other thing was really my concern with the questions, because I also agree with Councilmember Trong that it just feels like you're asking these questions where I feel like you should have already arranged for trash and or containers, or
Well,
even
yeah.
asking for direction from the city to maybe give suggestions like contacting Burtech. If it's an event, they give you those cardboard
Right.
thingamajiggies. And then also there was another one, and then utilizing City Hall to pick up the medals for the event. So it's like, so is Duarte giving out the medals or Kid Fit? I don't know that we usually have other organizations come to pick up things from our City Hall that isn't necessarily. So
understand.
there's just a couple of things, and like
Well,
I said,
we don't have to do that. It was just a question, I mean, I can have them come get it at my business. Doesn't matter. I just thought everybody knows where City Hall is. If you don't feel comfortable with any of those things, it's okay. Those are just my questions, just like you guys have questions of me. Those are things I'm curious about.
to be fair, the questions that we have for you is because it's the event that you're proposing. It's not an event that the city was proposing.
Right.
Michelle, do you have any sponsors yet? And I'm talking about big sponsors.
We have a lot in the pipeline as far as people who've actually given us money. We've got Foothill Credit Union. We have like 3 or 4 that have actually given us funds.
Okay, I'm sorry?
Probably $3,000 or $4,000 right now. But there's a lot in the pipeline that I can't say we're going to get that one because they haven't given us the money yet. So just because somebody said they're going to give it to us, I don't count it until they've cut the check.
Sometimes you feel like you've been painted into a corner. It's like, oh, how do I get out of here? I kind of feel like that's a situation right now. And I, above all people, appreciate everything you have done in this community. Trust me. And I'm just trying to figure out a way to make this work for the community.
Right.
Because I know that your heart's in it and you desperately want to get something going here so that, it's going to start out small. And it's kind of like, I feel like you've wrapped your arms around this thing and it's gotten bigger and bigger. And it's like, what do I go ahead and I drop first so I can at least hold on to this much of it? And so that's where I'm trying to come from on this, because I appreciate what you've put into this so far.
And I concur. I mean, I totally appreciate you doing this and taking this this huge task on yourself. I think it's getting big, and if we can, like I said, maybe de-scope a little bit and just start out smaller and just concentrate on the quality rather than quantity to serve everyone, it might be better to do so. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Dr. Jordan, was the insurance, I thought the insurance was supposed to be submitted so we can verify that the city.
Yeah, the insurance that was submitted appeared to be adequate for what we needed. There were a couple little other items that we wanted to make sure that we had secured if the council wanted to go forward, but it did appear to meet our specifications for the most part. Now, that's not what our city attorney was talking about was something completely different about the indemnification, and that's a separate agreement that is something very important and separate.
And
thank you, sir.
Sorry about that, Mr. Lewis. Dr. Jordan or Craig, if we are seeing that the trail is not fit or having liability issues, how much money and how long would it take to have that all repaired, right? Are we going to meet this timeline?
Apologies, just before we answer that, I first would like to say that the city is not taking this, we are not saying that there is actually liability on that. There is, as our assistant city manager mentioned, there is trail immunity. This is a statement made by the applicant, not by the city or city staff.
Copy that.
So I just want to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hensley, I don't know how much, I think if I got your other question, it was how long would it actually take to address these issues on the trail if we were going to try to do so? Okay. Mr. Hensley says he can answer that, so let's go bring him up to the mic.
I'm not going to promise it's going to be a great answer. I mean, what we've tried to do in the trail in the past, there's been some cracks in it, and we have gone out there and done some repair. But this is late in the game, and to be able to put that together and repair it by May with the current workload and just having to go out and find a contractor to do that, it's not work that the city crew can do. So I know there's been a talk about this for several months. This is the first time this has come up, I believe. I mean, other than I know the initial recommendation was, as Manuel pointed out, is that it may not be the right location, but the issue of there being unsafe and my eyes are what they used to be, but what liability, if it's a liability, I mean, that should be a concern, I would think, because I don't think we can go out and fix it in that amount of time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. One of the other questions I had was, okay, so actual kind of money in the bank, Michelle, you don't really, I guess you've got a few sponsors. I don't know, is anybody willing to match sponsorships that are given in terms of not actual dollars, but money that wouldn't have to be paid for public safety? Just a thought.
Was that a question directed to us? Mayor?
Yeah. On a sponsoring, on a one-to-one basis for public safety costs or financial support that is garnered for this event from sponsors. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, Michelle comes up with $3,000, then we go ahead and say, we'll cover $3,000 of the public safety part of it. Again, I'm just trying to help you out, Michelle.
Right.
I've sent out the sponsorship package that you sent over to me to a few of the business owner friends that I have. So they asked me when the event would be. I gave them the date. And then they in turn looked at their calendar and said, all this is going to happen in 2 months. So I am continuing to try to get them to sponsor. But some of the questions they raise, I don't have any answers to rebuttal those questions. So that's why I'm coming to you with these questions as well. And today, when I see the questions that you're asking us, it's just really one final question I have to ask you is, does this have to be this year? I think this would be a great event, but I think if there was time to plan for this the correct way, I think this event would be, you'll knock it out of the park. But with the time frame that we have now, it's really short. And like the mayor said, we all feel like we're pinned up against a corner with no room to move.
Well, if you wanted to be part of it next year and we could plan the whole year for it, that would be great. But as far as what we've set in motion right now, we either, in terms of what I'm doing, we either have to follow through with it the best we can or abandon ship. And, that's the choices right now.
Okay, Michelle, does everything you have done so far have to be thrown out? Or is this just kind of a learning experience and we can build on top of it and start now? And you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I hear what you're saying. The thing is that I will have to absorb the money that's put in so far and give back the sponsorship monies that we've accumulated and whatever money Catherine Barger's office is going to give us. And we have other people in the pipeline. So I would have to give that money back and absorb the costs that we have already done. And I will not be able to do that next year. I won't. I just don't have that kind of money to throw away with my company. I mean, our nonprofit, we lost, practically everything from the pandemic. So I don't have a surplus of funds to put into something like this. I thought this would be a good event for everybody. I thought it would be a win-win situation for everybody.
It is,
It's
Michelle.
just figuring out how to work together and make it happen, which I'll admit, I have no experience doing this. So it's a learning experience for me too. So it's up to you guys if you.
Michelle, I know how much you have put into this, and I really do respect that, and I applaud you for doing that. But I'm just being honest, right? We're facing your triple constraint. You're facing your time constraint, your scope constraint, which is huge. You have money constraint. You have resource constraint. You have liability constraints. I mean, everything is not moving the right path. What, even if we say, it's there's so much risks into this. I'm just saying, right? As a business owner, you see this. What 95% of all small businesses all fail. The thing I'm saying is, there's a lot of headwind coming after this, and we're not even sure if this is going to be a success, and since no one even registered. I mean, there's no baseline, there's nothing. And you have been doing so much of it, and again, I appreciate you for doing this, but now you're like asking the city after you finish all that stuff and say, by the way, you have to pay for this, right? So it's a little bit tough. It's if we can work on this together.
Well, you don't have to pay for anything if you don't want to.
Then how are you going to go ahead and make this happen?
We're going to continue with the sponsorship and see how much we can raise. Unless you
Okay,
just deny the permit, in which case I'll have to, give the money back that we've accumulated and tell the sponsors.
Brian, you want to say something?
I just wanted to add that at a certain point, I need to know from my perspective, since we have to hire the overtime and schedule and staff city personnel. So I have to have a go, no go, because if we go, then there's a financial obligation by KidFit to pay for us showing up. So I don't know at what point we're going to make that determination, but
When do you need to know for OT?
Today.
well, not today, but I mean, preferably May 1, if we want to set a date, since it's the 21st, and that gives me 3 weeks to tell everybody that they're not scheduled for overtime or scheduled to work, and, they can go on with their lives and,
Can I just make a recommendation?
Can
I think
go
it's
ahead.
been a long time already. We talked about
Yeah.
this, and I'm very, very empathetic. And I know you have worked so hard, Michelle, on this, but just listening to my community development director in regards to the, how we need to go in and improve some of the sidewalk stuff, and we are in a time constraints that I do have to recommend that we're not going to go ahead and move forward as for now. I'm really sorry to say this, and you're my friend and so on, but for the sake of the city, on behalf of the constituents, I'm just not ready to go ahead and make this happen.
So are you saying as far as the city sponsorship or the approval of the permit?
I think the overall, after the staff have been weighing in regards to all their concerns, I think every single one of them have been raising their concerns about this, that I just have to listen to my staff, and I cannot recommend it going forward. I'm sorry.
Well, wait a minute. So you're saying don't approve the permit?
We don't even have the.
For clarification, the item is only related to the co-sponsorship packet, not the events permit.
Right, so can I make a motion regarding that?
Yeah.
Mayor?
Sure.
I believe Councilmember Kang did
Oh,
make a motion.
You,
If-
is it?
Yeah, I want to make a motion that I'm not able to do the co-sponsorship as for now.
I'll second.
So that means we would not even be covering $325?
Correct. So the motion would be to reject the standard co-sponsorship package totaling $325.
I'll make a substitute motion to go ahead and go with the $325, because I think she's put 40 times that amount into it.
And I think if we can get that language with clearing the city from any,
Indemnification.
thank you, then I could second that, but we'd need that language, right, first.
Yes, so in other circumstances, you can approve the co-sponsorship package, including that $325, and require that they complete and submit an indemnification agreement. We do have a draft one within 14 days of this approval, and failure to do so would result in, for example, a denial or rejection or withdrawal of the application.
And the 325 includes the Doherty D, so I think that's where I'm like,
I'm sorry, it includes the
Doherty
The
D
logo?
logo. The Doherty, yeah.
yes, because this co-sponsorship package does include that.
That does, that is part of our standard co-sponsorship package.
What about if we just pay for the $325? What is that, a permit fee?
It's waiving a couple of the
Okay.
fees at under, but that is an option as well, as we could alter that standard package to not include the use of the Doherty D in any of the sponsorship materials and any of their promotional materials.
And also, if you are looking to only provide the waiver of the fees, I do recommend making findings from the dais to demonstrate that this is in the interest of the public and public Duarte residents in order to avoid any gift of public funds prohibited by the state constitution.
Well, I personally know at least 10 people in my family that are signing up for this, because we see Michelle all the time, and
I actually have a person who told me they're going to sign up their whole track team, 25 people.
right. And so I believe it is in the best interest of the community to go ahead.
If I may, I agree. If there's 2,000 people signing up, that's great, but I don't think the infrastructure is ready to go ahead and accommodate this.
I don't think we'll have to worry about 2,000. I'm just,
Well, fine, if you have 200, if you have two, I don't care, but if someone, if we're saying that the trail is not gonna be ready, it's not gonna be ready, that is on your critical path.
So what is that?
So first, we have the motion by Councilmember Kang, seconded by Councilmember Trung to deny the co-sponsorship package. We did have a substitute motion by Mayor Finley to approve the co-sponsorship package of $325 and, the
yeah,
standard
just the
package plus,
$325.
oh, not the entire
Yeah, that
sponsorship.
would, yeah, not the whole sponsorship, because again, the indemnification is a problem, but I would like to see it go forward. And like I said, we'll be out there.
So, so Mayor Finley is just to provide the waiver, the $325 waiver, and we're waiting for a second on that.
I'll second that without the logo. Yeah.
Yes, Mayor Finley's motion does not include any use of city logos, any benefits, just the waiver of the
So
$325
second
fee.
to her motion.
Okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion, or do we want to? Okay, Tony, go ahead.
Okay, you approved well, what is she gonna do with all the information that she already, all the programs and the flyers that she had made already with the Duarte D on it?
We didn't put it on.
Oh, okay. If they have not been printed already, then, okay, that
And-
answers my question.
And I guess then what I would like to also see is we got to do something about that bike trail. Now, whether it's before the 21st or after, if there are some more, again, you guys know I walk it and try to run it sometimes too, Michelle. I've seen those cracks, and I've had a grandson who was riding on a razor, and I sent the pictures to Craig with the kids' skinned up knees and elbows. So I'm just waiting for it. So if we can possibly, again, that looks pretty egregious, but
There's
if
not
we,
many places like that, and that looks different at different times of year.
yeah, I agree.
When it's
I
cold,
agree.
it's,
So if there's something that we can do, and again, I'm just thinking about like me personally on that bike path when I haul grandkids down there. So Craig's going to come up and give us some wisdom.
A couple things. First is actually, and I didn't make this up, this is really happening. Manuel and I have a meeting tomorrow with a grant writer, and we're looking for a Rivers and Mountain Conservancy grant to do like the full trail upgrades. The short term, budget's coming up, and we'll definitely keep that in mind in terms of doing some patching on the trail.
Okay, and if there's at all a possibility, and I know you go through there with the tar, the hot
Yeah.
tar or whatever, if there's any possibility of getting that done prior to this event, I think that I know.
We can try to do our best. That might be a little bit difficult.
And I know it very well may be
Maybe it'll
difficult,
hit worse spots possibly, but
so
probably
we
best
don't
we can
lose a kid going into that sinkhole.
Sorry.
Okay,
okay.
all right, so we have a substitute motion now. And how does, okay, I guess we'll go ahead and vote on it unless there's more discussion. Okay, then let's go ahead and take a roll call vote, Annette, on the substitute motion. Substitute motion is, repeat it, please.
The substitute motion by Mayor Finley and seconded by Councilmember Garcia is to approve the waiver of $325 for fees. It's various permitting fees. And to require, I believe, some type of indemnification agreement to be signed and approved by the applicant within 14 days of this approval. It does not include any type of co-sponsorship or the use of the Duarte logo or anything like that.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to chime in just a little bit more. Also, the city marketing resources, social media, that's excluded as well. It's merely about the fees.
Okay.
If that's the council's desire, I want to make sure that we have that clear.
Okay, so I think the motion is, everybody understands what we're voting on? Okay, so do you want to do a roll call vote, please, Annette?
Yes. Councilmember King?
I'm so sorry, Michelle. I can't see it. I have to say no.
Councilmember Lewis?
No.
Councilmember Trong?
No.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Paras Karachi?
I would support this 100% if you were able to do it next year. I'm gonna have to say no for May 21st. Or you can even adjust the timing.
Mayor Finley?
Yes.
Motion
right.
does not pass.
Okay.
All
So
right.
Mayor,
Yes.
although that sub-motion did not pass, you still have them, because it's not
The main
dispositive, the
motion,
main
got it.
motion to reject
Okay.
the application is still on.
All right, let's go ahead and we will take a vote on this and roll call on this, please. Please restate the motion.
So the motion presented by Councilmember Kang and seconded by, I believe, Councilmember Trung is to deny the co-sponsorship package, including the waiver of the $325 fee.
Okay, everybody understand what the? Yeah, basically, you're right, it's the opposite. Okay, so let's do a roll call, please, Annette.
Councilmember King?
And I absolutely concur with Zidal. I think if it's for next year, I would say yes. But as for now,
So a yes vote would mean you reject the application.
yes, I reject it. I hope it could happen next year.
Councilmember Lewis?
Aye.
Councilmember Trong?
Yes.
Councilmember Schultz?
Since it's already here. Yes. We're already here.
Councilmember Garcia?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Paras Karachi?
Yes.
Mayor Finley?
No.
Motion passes.
So as far as the permit, am I allowed to continue or do I need to abandon that?
I would defer that to staff after, because this meeting item is only regarding the co-sponsorship package. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, we're looking down.
Do you want to talk? Well, the special event permit is separate from the co-sponsorship package. So because it is administratively reviewed, as so long as she does comply with all the requirements for that application, it's possible for her to move forward, but it does have a different set of requirements.
Okay,
Yeah.
Manuel, you'll go ahead and meet with
Oh,
Michelle then
yeah,
and let her know what the requirements are.
Community development or special event?
Doesn't matter to me,
Yeah.
whoever
Yeah.
does it.
Yes, that process will continue.
Just real quick.
Go ahead,
And then-
Sam.
I just, oh,
I
sorry.
just want to go back really quick. Are we able to mitigate the risk issues if there is on the trail, on the bike path? Gosh, can you please?
That part of the statement that was made at the beginning, that this may not be the perfect place for a true sanctioned 5K. This is a trail. And there's something called trail immunity. And when you have a trail, it has a very different standard than the requirements for a sidewalk or for a track. And so because of that, of course, we need to maintain the trail. But for example, a DG is a trail, or the run that they do in Monrovia where they go to the falls is a trail.
Mhm.
There's a kind of a whole different standard for that. So because of that, I think we've always looked at having our trail maintained, but as a trail. And so I just want to be sure that everybody kind of understands that there is a difference between that. And from a liability perspective, there is a difference on that. Having said that, if somebody is choosing to do, let's pretend it's a walk, like the Hayden Walk, and they're doing that on the trail, it may be more appropriate. As far as our ability to take that risk away and reduce that risk for the city, that's how we do it through indemnity agreements. We would be requiring a waiver that they're signing when they register that identifies and acknowledges the city is indemnified. All of those things that you're doing, that risk of that trip and fall, shall we say,
Mhm.
is all going back
To them.
to the applicant.
Right.
And the applicant is then going to have to show through their waiver, which also protects us, that the participant acknowledged
Mhm.
that they were doing this at their own risk, and they understood that they would not be looking for the, even this applicant, to cover that liability.
Right.
All of that is a way to protect yourself when you do these events. And I think that those are kind of two separate issues as far as just as a city owning a trail, what we need to be doing in order to maintain that trail immunity. And, when we get reports of cracks and maintaining, as opposed to an event, which when we do an event, there's a whole different way of kind of taking that liability and handing it over to those who are doing the event, as opposed to our own event, where
Mhm.
we take all that liability ourselves.
Mhm.
So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
thank you, thank you. And thank you, I appreciate that. So, I mean, going forward, if my offer still stands, if you want to, if you can find other people, if you're able to go ahead and get, the fees and whatever and so on, I'll still offer my, $1,000. If you're able to go ahead and find someone to go ahead and match it, I'll do it. I'll make it happen.
I'd also like to make a suggestion. I see 3 really fine chamber members out there. And this would be something that, obviously, probably not this year, but I mean, you guys, this would be something really good too. I know you've helped with the parade in previous years. This is something that I think can really work for the whole community. So just a thought in the future and going forward. And talk with Michelle, see what she needs. I don't know what the cost would be with putting an ad in the Duarte View for this, but I'll be happy to cover the cost within reason, not the front page or anything. I'll be happy to put money forward for, an ad, something that will ring in the Duarte View to get, that's my thing. I love marketing. So I'm happy to talk with Shoshana or Adam or whoever wants to go ahead and take my money. So anyway, kind of talk about it.
I'll be glad to take your money, Mayor.
Tony, you go shop at Walmart.
Did we do a roll call? Oh, we did on that last one?
Yep.
Yes.
You
This
know,
item has
if it's
concluded.
any consolation, which probably not at this point, but Mr. Enriquez could maybe next year and have a whole year of planning and then it would really truly be a partnership per se, but then I think the council would be much more comfortable on approving a co-sponsorship of the size. If it's really marketed as a Kid Fit Duarte event versus, I know you're saying the whole community, but if Duarte has majority of the liability and so forth, I think staff would probably be more comfortable understanding all the different little steps and process, and they can mitigate it quite quickly on your behalf, on Kid Fit's behalf, because we all want a successful event should it be next year.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, good. Thank you for spending so much of your night with us. Okay. We are now on to item 11, which is our second continuation. It's our continuation of oral communications. Is there anyone that would like to go ahead and speak to us that didn't speak the first time around? Okay, now we will go with item 12. And these are items from city council, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go ahead and we'll start down on the floor. Brian, how about you? Okay. Craig? When's Crumble gonna open? By Mother's Day? Oh, and just to let you know, they always have pink cookies for Mother's Day. So, what? You just asked me when Mother's Day is? Yeah, I'll say. Okay. Manuel. Oh, what did you talk about at the dog park? I had a question for that. I wasn't there. Oh, go ahead. They're just kind of like it's actually a really delicious almond icing on a sugar cookie. It's really good. Okay. Dog park. What happened?
We had a great turnout on Saturday.
Okay.
First of many communities, and we are working with people to kind of look at our current real estate and taking in some of the feedback.
I think Fasana volunteered his front yard. Just let him know it. Okay, Kristen. Okay, great. Thank you. Dan.
Nothing for me, council, other than I think y'all realize that the staff has been very busy. Kristen talking about budget. Brian has just been doing extraordinary work with public safety. Manuel was very busy this weekend with dog parks and Parks and Recreation Commission. And Craig is, of course, always busy. So thanks to everybody, and Ty. It's wonderful having you here. Thank you for keeping these meetings going. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Manuel, did you take your dog to the dog park meeting?
She's not a service dog, so she's not allowed in here. So, yeah, no dog. We had to turn one.
Oh, wow. Maybe we should have it outside next time.
Well, we had some activity on Saturday, right around this time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. Ty, do you have anything else you want to say?
Nothing. Thank you.
All right. Don't you remember the days when Dan Slater sat up here and Dan never said a word? He was just very smooth and quiet and just, all right. We like having you here, Ty. Okay, we'll
Hear
start
you loud
down the
and clear,
line.
Mayor.
Okay, Zeidel? Yeah.
Congratulations to the Route 66ers, our senior softball team. I was able to throw the first pitch on opening day, and they won 14-13. So it was a nail biter. I think if we can post maybe their schedule anytime they play a home game, I would definitely suggest to support them. They're a wonderful group of people. The other team was from City of Commerce, of which came a little more VIP-ish. And some of our players even asked me, well, hey, what's, I go, they have casinos. So unless you want a casino in Duarte, I don't think you guys can drive over here or walk over. But again, they were a wonderful bunch. And then last, I hope to see you at the State of the City. It's always going to be a great event, and with Mayor Finley and of course, School Board President Reina Diaz. I'm sure it'll be good news that's shared with our community and our business community and everyone else. And then lastly, I just want to go home. But good meeting.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Vin.
It's been a long night for those of you who are still in the audience. Thank you for sticking around. I just want to thank staff and Brian. I don't know if this goes to Craig or Brian, but on this, when you're jumping on the 605 South, those apartments on the right-hand side, that bordering wall on the freeway, I think a car hit it or something like that. There's a huge hole and there's just, I think the owner, does that belong to the owner? Do they have to do something to fix it, or is that a Caltrans issue? Oh, okay. Thank you. I have nothing else. Have a good night, everyone.
Jody.
I just want to say thanks to everyone as usual. Like I said earlier, public safety, just killing it. Manuel with the dog park. That was an awesome meeting. There were like 40 people there. I wish we saw 40 people here more often. I'm very proud of the chamber. I love Shoshana and everyone, but very proud. The mixer at the Huntington was wonderful. Getting to meet Jasmine, the property manager, was wonderful, and seeing everyone come out for that. I'm looking forward to all the great things that you listed that you're going to be doing. So I'm very proud of all of you. So thank you for all that hard work. To the sheriffs, the coffee with the sheriff was so much fun. It was nice to see everyone. So I'm just happy with everyone. So thank you all, Dr. Jordan, Ty, Manuel, Kristen, Victoria, Annette, everyone. One final thing, Manuel, solve a riddle for me. I hear you called Manuel and I hear you called Manuel. Can you clarify which one is the one we should be calling you? Because names are very important, how they're said and how they're spelled. Manuel, okay.
Hey, wait a minute.
Manuel. Manuel.
Yeah, you did. I sat in your office and you said Manuel. You're trying to fake us out. It's called for dinner, right?
Thank you for clarifying. Thank everyone.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out to Beardsley Park a few Saturdays ago. Thank you to Rotary for putting that together. We had Interact, our mayor, Councilmember Schultz was out there. Our Director of Public Safety, Brian, was kicking butt. Yeah, I mean, in less than an hour, the park was clean. So thank you for coming out. Manuel provided a bunch of tools. Thank you for doing that. Our outreach coordinator also was there, Tony Hadlock. So shout out to everybody. Thank you. Brian's mom was there and she was really happy that this was being done in Brian's memory. And so she expressed that. And just invite everyone this Saturday to Westminster Gardens for Cesar Chavez Day. And I'm also looking forward to the farmer's market. So that's all. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, staff.
I just had a question regarding the tree that we're going to plant in Mayor Rias's memory down at Beardsley Park. We talked about it. Is that something that we've gotten very far on? Or I know we have to, frankly, I was looking at all the trees down there and thinking, do we need another tree or do we just go ahead and, put a plaque in front of it? Rosa told me that she and Brian always used to walk around the park there, and it meant a lot to her to think that we would put a plaque down there or something on the ground that would go ahead and designate that it was in Brian's memory.
Yes, we'll circle back on that because we want to make sure we're also looping in the school district.
Okay. Okay. When are we doing the Lloyd Gibbons bike unveiling? I can contact her. Okay, so, all right. And are we looking at something like a Saturday morning, a Thursday evening? What are we kind of looking at?
Saturday morning, kind of possibly starting off at the bike shop and then riding over to location and we can get right onto.
Sometimes Jerry Delker has a bicycle clinic there, and maybe we can kind of coordinate that with Jerry, right? With the Elks. So, all right, well, let me put a call in then to his family and we'll maybe get this thing rolling. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut in, Sam.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Got a few questions really quick. I'm just seeking to have perhaps a status report in regards to the riderships of our transit buses. Can we get those? And secondly, it relates to I think there are 30 or 35 footer buses, right? I noticed that they're being replaced with a whole bunch of CNG buses again. Is there something still going on with these Proterra EV buses?
I haven't heard, but I will find out and get back to you on it.
Yeah.
They're actually, right, in the last 2 weeks have been doing surveys on our buses.
Okay.
Trying to get some understanding of the, not just the
Right.
and so I can find out if and how to break down because I know we have a backup bus.
Right.
That is CNG, so let's find out more about that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And two more questions actually goes to Brian really quick is, have you noticed, and I talked about this maybe a half a year back, is now I see these modified cars at night, they're congregating on Huntington. I mean, literally there are like 6 of them. And, straight pipes, whatever, they're just flying up and down Huntington. And you can probably hear it, right, Vin? They're loud. They're very, very loud. I mean, next thing they're gonna do is turn this into it. I'm sorry. They go, yeah, they're everywhere. Is there anything we can do about this? I'm just curious. At
Yeah,
night.
we'll talk to the deputies. A lot of those, there's vehicle code violations that they have, modified exhaust, lowered. So we'll take a look. So congregating right there in Huntington Bayou or the car
Yeah,
wash or-
Huntington and yeah. Yeah, Huntington and Crestfield and then right by Mount Olive and Huntington around that area. I mean,
Okay.
they're just literally just sitting there.
Any particular days or times?
I don't know.
Just
I mean, I
random?
hear
No,
those.
that's okay. I'm
Yeah,
just trying
all
to
the-
gauge a,
Yeah.
okay.
I appreciate
We'll
that.
take care of that.
Yeah, and I know you talked about the homeless issues and I know you guys are working on it. I appreciate that. It's just, even today I was at the public library, our public library. My gosh, you don't even want to walk in there because it just smells so bad.
Yep.
And it's really, it's setting up I don't want to say this, but it's like this broken glass theory, right? It's like the more dilapidated it is, it attracts that kind of, we want a better quality of life. It's like, is there any way we can, I know you're working on it, maybe we can, and there are more and more of them everywhere too. Can we get some more, I know I asked this before, maybe some more CSOs to help out?
Well, it's
or
not a matter,
something?
I wouldn't even put the CSOs, it'd be deputies, but
Okay.
I talk with Joanne all the time about it. We go through there, make sure they're not in the way when business open and what's going on. But it does fall under a public place. So that's where, Boise kicks in. It's not private property, it's government. So, we tread lightly, but if there's crimes, and once we start this new process, we may be able to cite them
Smells
under the
really
municipal
bad
code
up there.
for various things that will deter them from being there. So we'll be creative about it, but we'll also get Tony over there, see if we can't get him enrolled in services. And
I appreciate that.
you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brian. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank staff for, that the issues we come up with. I know it's a lot of hard work and, sometimes, it's a dirty job, but we gotta get it done. And I would like to thank the city of Gardena. I was invited to their State of the City address and it was pretty nice. There's Mayor from Inglewood was there, Mayor Butts. There's a lot of mayors there and I was requested why it wasn't our mayor invited. And they told me, well, they sent an invitation, but she didn't respond. I was like, she
What?
probably was busy. She was out of country
I never
feeding
rec-
people.
I never received anything from them.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you what I was told,
Well,
Mayor.
I'm just telling you the way it is.
I stuck up for you though, Mayor. I told them you were out of country feeding people.
When, I don't even know when it was.
It was 2 weeks ago, Thursday.
Actually, I would have been in the country.
Oh, well, I lied. I'm a politician, what can I say? No, I'm just playing. That's a joke. And so I like to, and my question is their state of the city, they had their the police honor guards there. Our honor guard, did our honor guard get invited to the, and I think it looked pretty sharp. That's maybe a question to you, Dan.
We're getting our state of the city and school coordinator here to answer that.
So in terms of having a color guard there, we actually had one of our local Duarte Boy Scout troops reach out and ask if they could do the colors that evening. And Mayor Finley agreed to have them do the colors that night.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
going to be
That's
dancing
awesome.
that night. I'm just kidding.
Sam, we want you there dancing.
And that's about all I have. Thank you very much to everyone, my colleagues. Good meeting. Thanks.
Okay, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that stuck through this whole meeting. You're not even getting paid the big bucks like we are. Just kidding. Because you know what? Somebody told me, matter of fact, as you know, I was with Raina, and apparently someone said at one of their meetings, they earn $260 a day. Just for anybody to go ahead and know, they earn about $257 a month for what they do. And we earn $550 a month. So, yep, that's enough to get rich on, isn't it? So, all right, it's a wrap. Oh, I also want to mention, we're adjourning tonight in the memory of Bernard Fasana. Bernard was John Fasana, former council member and Mayor John Fasana's father. He passed away. He was 97 plus years old. I'd met him on a number of occasions. And if you're wondering where John gets his wit and intelligence, and his mother's a wonderful person too, but Mr. Fasana, Mr. Bernard Fasana was an amazing man. He will be missed. And I'm glad we're able to send our condolences to the Fasana family. So with that, it's a wrap, guys.